Here we go. Some recruiting noise Gamecock fans have been looking for since Shane Beamer took the job, I believe. Welcome in. Hope your Tuesday morning is off to a good start. We talked about it to some degree yesterday as Patrick Perret continues to fill in for Bill Gunter as Bill wraps up his birthday celebration.
Day 5 of the birthday weekend, I think. Day 5 of 5.
5 of 25, I would imagine.
Right.
At least we'll be back to work. We think coming up tomorrow. And DC, Carlton, LeVar, Chris, Nathan, we see all you guys on the live video stream. Good morning to you as well. Craig also in. Nice job getting up early, getting moving, gentlemen. So the movement yesterday on the recruiting trail, let's back up first. It was the big quarterback from Delaware, 6'5" quarterback. I said big quarterback, 4-star commit as well, Braden Davis on Friday. And yesterday, it was the first time we've seen some SEC movement, I would say, in the Shane Beamer era. I think this was something that Will Muschamp brought with him to South Carolina as far as his reputation for flipping commitments. And Shane Beamer starts to add to his reputation yesterday with a Georgia native. We're going to call him an edge, I believe, is the new football term. And Donovan Westmoreland is his name, 6'3", 215 pounds, from the state of Georgia, had originally been verbally committed to Georgia. Yesterday announced that he was flipping his commitment to South Carolina, making a commitment for the better, I think, or making a decision for the better is kind of how he put it on social media. Patrick, what do you make of the latest news and the latest movement for Gamecock football on the recruiting trail?
Well, I think anytime you flip somebody from Georgia, it's going to make South Carolina fans happy because, for one, it's a rival and you're taking a player from a rival. And two, I mean, Georgia has the number 1 recruiting class in the country right now in that 2022 class. They've already got, I think 12 commits? Yeah, they've already got 12 commits, including 3 5-stars. So, or depending where you look, at least on 24/7, it's 3 5-stars. So, yeah, anytime you can pluck someone away from a recruiting powerhouse and a rival at the same time, I think it's good. I like edge as the draft term. I guess in recruiting, they just do it as outside linebacker. The recruiting positions are always so weird. I mean, we talked about quarterbacks yesterday you can find Braden Smith as a pro style of pocket passer or a dual threat wherever you look. I was seeing Donovan Westmoreland as an outside linebacker. Is that what we're going off of?
I'm just seeing linebacker right now on the article I'm reading from Chris Clark on Gamecock Central. They labeled him as an edge rusher. They can do it.
It's so funny in that because, I mean, there's weak side defensive ends, strong side defensive ends, outside linebackers, inside linebackers, and these kids are all like 17 years old right now and could put on any amount of weight at any given time and play any position in the next couple of years. So, I mean, yeah, if he's a pass rusher, even better. One of the most important positions on the football field. So we'll take it.
Now, the details around this commitment a little bit different than the ones we talked about yesterday. Davis, the Delaware quarterback, came down to South Carolina on his own. You know, there have not been official visits year basically since COVID hit. They're going to open up come June, but did notice that he had come down. I actually took in the city for himself. This was not a sight unseen kind of thing, talking about the quarterback, but reading the details from Donovan Westmoreland, he's talking about the virtual visit and also the one thing that really caught his eye or his favorite part. Would you like to guess about the new facilities and doing the virtual visit? The one thing that stood out to new Gamecock commit.
It's part of the Ops Center.
It is.
I'm going with either the Spur Cuts or the Darius Rucker recording studio.
Yes,
has to be one of the two.
My favorite part was the lounge where they had the studio. I'm a big fan of music, so I'm going to be going there a lot. That really stood out to me. He did say he loved the practice fields.
Exactly what a coach wants to hear. Yeah. I'm going to be in the recording studio a lot when I'm here. It didn't take long for Muschamp to have to cut the players off, right? He put like a curfew on the recording studio because guys were in there at all hours of the night.
I think that's how it worked. This is also it depends on the results at the time as well, I'm sure, how much leash you get and the whole deal. But interesting news from that standpoint. That's always, I like to read the details around these commitments just to get a feel about what kind of person and just the perspective on the program a lot of times, because a lot of these kids are just being introduced to the program for the first time a lot of times, and especially Gamecock basketball I'm always interested in reading about as well, just the perceptions of Frank Martin, and then how they say they're coming into the program. This one's an interesting one as well. Just like Braden Davis coming down from Delaware and not being too familiar with the program, taking in 5 points, he said, when he saw the city and the facilities and the whole deal. Now, Donovan Westmoreland is the latest name. The commitment's not up a ton. They're up to number 4 now, or that's the 4th commitment of the 2022 class for Gamecock football. Now, you mentioned that Georgia class is ranked number 1 in the country. You got a number in front of you on that, Patrick, of how many guys they have committed from their class, and I guess it's -1 now that Westmoreland has from Georgia to South Carolina.
Yeah, they have 12 commits. They have on 24/7 3 5-stars. Gunnar Stockton's as a 4-star here, so they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 4-stars, and then a 3-star.
It's pretty ridiculous. By the stars, Westmoreland here, a 3-star guy from what I'm looking at 24/7. Same for you?
Yeah, I'm seeing 3-star. And they've got a couple. I mean, they've got an inside linebacker and another outside linebacker. Jalon Walker was the one that committed, I guess, a little over a month ago. That got a little buzz right here because he was specifically had mentioned Will Muschamp as being a big part of his recruitment immediately. So, I mean, I don't want to get too carried away because it is. I mean, if the kid wants playing time, obviously it's a better chance to come to South Carolina and get early playing time than at Georgia, where you're probably lower on the pecking order. But nonetheless, he was offered by Georgia last September. He had a pretty good offer list at that point. I read an article that said he had offers from Tennessee, Georgia Tech, Maryland, and Syracuse for the first 4 listed that I remember. So, I mean, he was a sought-after player, so he will be a nice addition.
Speaking of nice additions in Tennessee, the Volunteers welcome a Texas transfer, leading tackler from Texas, Jawan Mitchell, coming in as a linebacker. Remember, it was a series of like 48 hours or so where it was just a mass exodus to a large degree. I know it wasn't that many people, but it was some significant people, including their linebacker, Henry To'oTo'o, who had the pick 6 against the Gamecocks. This is a way to kind of make up for that as well. And I guess it was a former 5-star prospect, Ben Davis, who Texas had added. So Davis was from Alabama. He goes to Texas, and this Texas transfer comes to Tennessee. And Jawan Mitchell is not the only SEC program yesterday. They got a notable transfer. Alabama adding Ohio State former wide receiver Jamison Williams to their program as well. Big notable transfers in the SEC. And what do you think about the Gamecocks' chances of continuing to add some transfers? I know I think it was a guy from Washington State, the latest on the list.
Yeah, Tyrese Ross, the safety, I think.
Right, the last week or so is when they added.
Did To'oTo'o pick a school? I didn't even see that. I thought Southern Cal was the favorites for him.
It's a good question. I'm going to go double check.
But I mean, just everything. It is getting a little ridiculous. I mean, everything you just listed. So Texas brings in a linebacker from Alabama. Thus, the Texas linebacker leaves and goes to Tennessee because Tennessee's top linebacker leaves. And then Alabama has 2 more guys drafted in the first round. And Ohio State returns their top 3 receivers. So the kid goes to Alabama to replace him in the lineup. And you have the Arkansas kid going to Oklahoma because Oklahoma's losing some guys. Like, it is getting ridiculously hard to keep up with all this stuff, and it is kind of a shame overall, like the whole landscape, that kids just are deciding not to compete, which is a bit of a bummer, and maybe that's an old man take, but it's just wild. South Carolina's got as much momentum as anyone, I guess, right now. So, I mean, it was a big weekend. You got your quarterback, which is always good to help with the class. But just seeing like the clear chain reaction of all this: one linebacker leaves, the other linebacker goes, places another linebacker who left, and it's just crazy.
Well,
and I guess it's a sign of things coming.
It's free agency for.
I mean, it completely is. Yeah.
Now, I'm reading the latest. There's a reason why we don't know where he's transferring because he hasn't announced it yet. It hasn't. And there was a report that Alabama was going to be the spot. Now he's from California, and as the story goes, he's been taking online classes since he announced he was going to transfer back in January over in California. I guess there was a rumored brief return there in Knoxville pretty recently, and Ohio State. Apparently, there's been a trip there. I mean, how is this anything other than free agency in college football? This is what the one-time transfer. We knew it was going to happen to some degree. I don't think I expected it to happen quite like this immediately, but I don't know what else I should have been expecting.
I don't know if we should expect it to happen more often, or I mean, the kid you said he's leading tackler at Texas, and now he's just going to leave. Like, who is to say that he's just going to step into Tennessee and be equally as productive? Or like, it just seems like a risky move for a lot of these kids. I mean, some of them make sense if it's your senior year and there's not a spot for you on the depth chart. I mean, okay, but when you're the leading tackler, you would think that you would be welcomed back or wanted back with open arms and expected to start right away. And just bailing at all these times, like the Arkansas kid we talked about. I mean, they had just posted a picture of him, seemed to have a good spring camp, and was their leading receiver the year before. And he's just putting all his eggs in the Oklahoma basket and saying, I'm going to do this for 1 year. I'll step right into the lineup. It'll be no big deal. And then I'll go pro. Like, that is a risky proposition when things are already going well for you, unless there's more under the surface for any of these kids. But mostly it just seems like a playing time situation, and it's a dangerous game.
Well, Tennessee and Texas, both coaching changes. And I get it. You see the entire coaching staff basically leave. You say, hey, I want to check out my options too. And if you've got some really good options like these guys seem to do, clearly, if he's deciding between Alabama and Ohio State right now, that's a pretty good place to be in college football.
Pretty good option. I mean, was he a 5-star? I think he's a 5-star. He was very highly rated recruits. I mean, he has more options than most, but still, yeah. The coaching change makes sense, but I mean, because I guess you're still learning a new scheme and all that stuff, so it's not exactly the same thing. But just jumping into the middle of the summer and saying I'm going to be ready to contribute in, what are we, 4 months away, and you just jump right back into it, the swing of things. It'll be no big deal. I don't know about all that.
John, down over in Pawleys Island, I should say. Alabama is where Toa wants to go. He's just waiting to see if the SEC passes an interconference policy where he would not have to sit out. So they recently did pass, I guess, that you could actually transfer in the conference. But they, I guess, have to pass an additional rule that this one-time transfer thing where you don't have to sit out also applies to interconference stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if they passed that one. Yeah, I think it was hard enough for them to get over the original. You can transfer in the conference deal, which was, what was that? The Tennessee Georgia deal with the lineman that had
Kate Mays, I think.
Yeah, the finger issue, and we've seen it several times with several different guys. But yeah, and then you're getting straight up free agency if the SEC does allow that to happen. I would think they would keep that one rule in place to where at least you got to transfer out of conference to play immediately in the one-time transfer.
Who makes that decision? Is the coaches voting or the athletics directors? Or
I would think it comes down to the school vote, so it depends on who has the power at the school, right? Alabama's athletic director is not going to overrule Nick Saban.
Yeah, because the coaches would vote would not want to pass that, of course, because they don't want their guys bouncing from one school to the next. But for the SEC as a whole, I mean, when you see things like the SEC had 65 players drafted, that obviously reflects well in the conference. And if you don't pass it, you're risking your best players leaving the conference, and you just want to keep the talent level as high as it's always been. I guess it would depend on what the motives are there, where you decide whether or not to let the kids leave the conference.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is scared of talent leaving SEC football or is worried. I think this is just more of kind of keeping up with the rest of college football. If you don't do it, then I guess you do risk falling behind the other conferences there. And I don't know exactly why anyone would not be voting against this thing. Like, why would anyone be for it in the SEC other than maybe out of that concern about getting behind other conferences eventually, which I don't think they're too concerned about at this point. So I would be surprised if the SEC passes that thing. I'd be surprised that if we end up seeing Toa at Alabama, would not be surprised at all to see him at Ohio State or Southern Cal. But we'll continue to keep an eye on that. One of the most notable transfers in college football for sure. Haven't heard any kind of South Carolina connection there. You know, the Gamecocks could use a little linebacking help as well, but getting a flip from a commitment from Georgia is certainly a start for Shane Beamer and company, who was on the golf course yesterday with his dad. We'll give you some details on that as we continue to roll on. Just getting warmed up this morning. Patrick Perret helping to fill in fully for Bill Gunter this morning. Bill will be back tomorrow. Jen Jensen holding things down, producing from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios in downtown Columbia. You can find Jen at Jen Jensen Morse on Twitter. Patrick is at _ Patrick Perret. I'm at Tim Hill 1075. This is the early game. It's 1075 the game.
This is South Carolina head women's basketball coach Dawn Staley, and you're
I would not have gotten the Ospreys as the North Florida mascot.
The Osprey is what?
The North Florida Ospreys?
Yeah, that's a good one. Morning, Josh. Love the sarcastic. All you do is talk football. Speaking of that, does Gamecock Larry want to yell at us? Any idea where he's at this morning?
He sounded like he was in a happier place than he was yesterday.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Yep.
I'm sure he's in a good mood. Taking somebody from Georgia.
He's in the hospital right now, so.
Mm.
Yeah. But it's one of those, if I have to hang up because they're coming to do something to me, I'll just call back. Okay. Nice.
I think Gamecock Larry's got equal hate in his heart for Georgia and Clemson, honestly. The way he talks.
Yeah, that's strong.
Tennessee.
And Tennessee, yeah. If he had to pick one, I wouldn't be surprised if he said Georgia.
Agreed.
Because they're
living in Georgia.
Bulldog Burt, always in his ear. Dr. Bulldog Burt, sorry.
No, Dr. Bulldog is different than Bulldog Burt. Come on now.
Yeah. Who's the Dr. Bulldog then?
He's at the VA hospital.
Yeah, but I thought he had a name. He was Dr. Bulldog something.
No, he's just
I
Dr.
think he's just Dr. Bulldog.
He's just Dr. Bulldog. Oh, okay.
Wow, Craig coming in strong with the Georgia hate.
Interesting.
Oh. Nobody gets that excited when I say I strongly dislike IUPUI. It just doesn't hold the same as I hate Georgia. You know, when you're in a small school, your big rival is Ooey Pooey. It just doesn't hold that same weight.
Tim, you know the IUPUI?
Ooey Pooey?
Yeah.
Sure.
You know what it stands for?
I'm assuming he does. Maybe.
I guess so.
What's that?
Do you know all the initials?
Pooey. It's Indiana University, Purdue University of
At Indianapolis.
Indianapolis.
Well done.
A lot of kids from my school went to IUP, which is Indiana University of Pennsylvania.
Really? Huh.
Don't understand it at all. I've never actually taken the effort to look into it, but it doesn't make sense to me that there would be an Indiana University in the state of Pennsylvania. They're very far from each other. Not very far. There's probably 2 states in between them, right?
Yeah, and Ohio between them.
Morning, Levi. 7 years old. Sorry, this show is probably not up to your maturity level, but we do our best here.
True story.
We got several young listeners now vying for that coveted spot of top young listener. Levi, we'll put you on the list, Levi. Now Auburn. Sonny's talking about his Auburn hate.
One of the young listeners, when Bill was asking about donuts, made the comment about one particular donut place. He said they're too rich and you can only have one.
Yep, I heard that. That was Mike the President's Kids, I think.
Yeah, he was like 7 years old or something like that. I was like, what kind of kid says donuts too rich can only have one? That's all you want to eat as a kid.
It's 21st century.
Somebody had to do it.
The first one to lead us off, Carlton.
Somebody had to do it.
Well, I think if a kid wants to, get like the top spot of being a young kid, they have to promise they'll never get into this industry. I solemnly swear to stay out of radio.
The kid's a kid right now. Be lucky that if it exists when he's an adult.
Well, we are sitting here looking at each other on the internet. Clearly, things have changed.
Yeah. It's crazy. I actually have somebody in the building right now.
Congratulations.
I know. Johnny's next door. Because they're launching a new programming at one of our sister stations. So they're in there kind of making sure everything's going well. So it's like, oh my gosh, a human being in here.
It was always just us and Johnny.
Yeah. And then Chris for a while.
Yeah, Chris was in there. Yeah.
And used to be another one all the way down, but
yeah, Chris was usually the only person that was there when we got there already.
mm-hmm.
And Johnny rolled in at seven, I think.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Like I said, the one time it was all of them were full, but yeah, kind of empty.
I saw Steve over the weekend, actually.
I saw him yesterday.
Yeah, they were doing there's like a neighborhood. They called it a flea market. It was actually just like a yard sale
We're
of
heading
a
in.
couple houses in a community.
You're up.
Running together to do a yard sale.
Carlton started us off. Got to give a shout out to 7-year-old Levi out there listening. I'm sure listener this morning. Josh hitting us up there on the live stream. Josh listening on Facebook Live says Levi's one of the biggest fans. Listens every morning. 7 years old. Well done, Levi. Clearly, you're going to be one of the leaders of our country, probably our world moving forward. Can't say the same for Carlton this morning, who started us off with "May the Fourth be with you." I got a preemptive attack last night, or at least I did on Twitter. At Tim Hill 1075 is where AJ hit me up. AJ with a picture of The Godfather, the original. This Tim in advance of Star Wars Day tomorrow. It's my patriotic duty to offset the ridiculousness we're going to see with imagery from an actual classic cinematic franchise.
Nice.
He knows that he has to tell me exactly what he was talking about yesterday. You'll recall May the 4th has been discussed on the show. Everyone stay frosty tomorrow. So that is going to lead me to a poll question today. Instead of the automotive poll question today, Patrick, what is the appropriate response to May the 4th be with you? What would you like to add as an appropriate response here?
And also with you.
Okay. I didn't see that one coming. That's really what you're going to say?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what they say. I think that's the only appropriate response when they say that to each other in Star Wars.
I'm going to go with act like you did not hear that. Act like you didn't hear.
I'm going to Google that right now.
The appropriate response.
And also with you.
Yeah, that's the internet response.
Is it?
No, that's what Patrick's going with as well. So both you guys are going, and also with you. That is the last thing I would ever say to someone that's told me May the 4th be with you today. I think
you can ask them what their favorite Star Wars movie is.
No, I could just hurt their feeling and just say, "What are you talking about?"
But you do know. Everybody knows.
Not a Star Wars fan.
Can't hide from it. Can't hide from it.
Because
it is pretty ridiculous that I'm the only person. I'm 25 and I'm the only person that's seen all the Star Wars and likes all the Star Wars.
Oh yeah, on the show you're talking about, not in the show. There are a lot of people like Carlton. I think this is basically a 50-50 split from the detailed research I've done with sports radio through the years, through the last 15 years or so. Bringing this thing up, it always creates a massive divide. Craig says the response is grow up. but that's the thing, right? I mean, an adult made this thing. We all understand. I think maybe more today in the 21st century, we have a better handle on just how many adults out there still live in science fiction world or have a really solid imagination and still really enjoy these things. And it's okay as long as it's kept in the proper perspective, I think. And that's where that's where I start to get a little grizzled.
Well,
so Patrick, do you feel like you have your affinity for the Star Wars franchise and other completely made up fictional things in the proper perspective?
Well, I think the proper perspective changes for everyone. But like the grow up comments, like, well, everyone was introduced to Star Wars or should have been introduced to Star Wars as a kid.
It's true.
Like nobody is too old, except for, I mean, Impact Larry was an adult when it came out for the first time. But like, I mean, the first one came out in '77, so most of our listeners were introduced to it as children. So you hang on to it from your childhood. It's not like it's maybe a little bit weirder if you just watch all the Star Wars movies for the first time in like your 30s or 40s and become obsessed with it then. But it's something that you grew up with, like all the Star Wars toys and all that stuff. So, and then when they keep coming out, it's a continuation of that. So,
no, like I grew up with it, but I didn't become a fan of it. You know what I'm saying? Jen's giving us a similar type look as in like shaking the head.
No, a lot of people pick and choose what they want to cling to because people say sci-fi all they want, but I mean, then they watch other things. Like if you hate on Star Wars but you love Harry Potter, I think that's a little hypocritical. Or if you hate both of those but you're big on Game of Thrones, like clearly you have space in your imagination for fantasy and sci-fi and things like that. So
I guess here's where
people like it's too late for you guys. You'll never come around to Star Wars, so it's fine. Absolutely. But
I'm really disappointed that we don't really give more praise to like the Austin Powers. Because that's more.
They're great.
But the problem for me is when it turns from, hey, I like this movie, or hey, I like this movie franchise, to, hey, when are we dressing up to go see the premiere of this movie?
Right.
That's where you lose me as an adult.
If that's what we're talking about perspective, I will never dress up to go see Star Wars.
Okay. Then
I'll go see all of them in theaters when they come out.
Okay. That is proper perspective from my point of view. Jen, can you accept that moving forward?
Absolutely.
Also, Patrick didn't come in this morning and say, "May the 4th be with you." He doesn't have his Star Wars gear on right now. Do you have any Star Wars gear?
Lightsaber, anything?
No, I mean definitely in my house we have all the old toys, but I mean those were from when my dad was a kid. I definitely had lightsabers, but I don't think I have a single piece of Star Wars memorabilia or anything. I definitely don't have any like Star Wars clothes. I think that's a hard no. I'm looking around, but I think it's a hard no.
Ted, Cool Care Heating and Air text line 803-404-6100 made me laugh out loud. Usually I can read these things, and having read these for also a decade, there is a part of me that I consider to be professionally dead inside because of it, right? Trying to be professional here. Ted's that has just a few words in his text message. Sci-fi is for such dorks. And then he skips the line and says, BTW. By the way, sup, Jen? Hilarious, Ted. Well done this morning. Kangaroo Kyle, on the other side of the May the 4th be with you, you respond with a dulcet sound of Chewbacca.
That's right.
Patrick, you got one of those?
No, I could never do that. But does the guy that voices Chewbacca do it just without any sort of like voice modification thing?
So. That would be very disappointing if that's all computers.
It's very impressive.
Especially from back in the day, 77. That was the first one that came out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think that was all computer generated. Anonymous texter, Austin Powers from out of left field. Yeah, baby, that's where he's come from. This morning.
Listen, we all like Austin Powers.
Of course, but we all understand Austin Powers as a movie franchise does not compare, is anywhere close to the realm of Star Wars.
No, only in my heart.
Kaiser, you guys are old enough that I bet you went to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Don't knock Star Wars. Jen, I'm guessing maybe the Rocky Horror Picture Show? I've never seen that movie.
Really? Yeah, I did. And in college, I did go to the theater, and we did all the things of, that you were supposed to do as far as throwing, bread and, all that.
And see, that's another thing, too. A lot of Star Wars people are very sensitive if Star Wars is criticized at all, which I'm going to put Kaiser now in that basket. This is great. Now Tim and Patrick are poking Gamecock Larry about Star Wars, another anonymous texter said. Well, we might as well hear what our favorite 86-year-old caller has to say about this.
And he hung up.
What?
I'm sorry. He literally just hung up. The nurse must have come in.
Nope. That's what I'm taking as he is completely unaccepted. Accepted is not a word. He's completely unresponsive to the Star Wars conversation at all and bailed on us. That's what I will take that.
Mm-hmm.
Chris says, when it takes over your life, then yes, grow up. When you have a Star Wars wedding, much.
Yeah.
It is. Look it up. Yeah.
It is a fine line. Like, there's a lot of talk about Disney adults, like adults that just go to Disney all the time.
Right.
And I do think that's weird. But I also do want to go to Disney, like, soon and I want to go see, like, the Star Wars. I don't know if it's, like, a full. There's, like, several rides that I definitely want to go to. And I want to go to the Harry Potter world because they seem sweet. But I'm not going to, like, go there all the time.
As a 25-year-old male, though, you're considering going without children.
Yeah, I would like to go. Yeah, I would like to go.
I was going to say, yeah, it's the sad part is Disney without the kids.
Well, what the Epcot drinking around the world thing seems like one of the coolest things. I would love to do that, except every drink is like $15 or $20, so I definitely can't afford to do it, but I would like to.
Sonny hits us up on the YouTube live. I was a big Star Wars freak when I was younger. Had the big Darth Vader carrying case.
Yep.
My Star Wars action figures. I had them all. Even had the Jabba the Hutt in his lair.
I have the exact same Darth Vader carrying case. I know exactly which one he's talking about.
But you see how you guys are talking about it? In past.
Yep.
Which is totally okay.
Mm-hmm.
Spaceballs over Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
That's it.
They go hand in hand.
Maybe maybe that's the response I'm looking for in our poll question today. That would be, I think, a solid response to
May the Schwartz be with you.
yeah, not bad, but no way any Star Wars people. See, I want a response that can appropriately sum up my position and yet not crush someone who's obviously excited and enthusiastic about it at the same time. Does that make sense, Patrick?
Yeah, I mean, are we talking about like somebody's walking, you're just walking down the street, minding your own business, somebody walks up to you and says this to you?
Right.
Then it's a little uncomfortable.
Okay, then it's on them.
I think you probably just give them a thumbs up and keep it moving.
Is it a sarcastic thumbs up, though, is my question?
Yeah, it's like you raise the eyebrows and give them a... Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Maria was also pumped about the Austin Powers comment from Jen this morning on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. And yeah, now we got someone else. The original Austin Powers enthusiastic fan says you actually have to say it like Austin Powers. Let's hear it, Jen, is what they're asking for.
Say what? Like which thing? Like, you know.
The yeah, baby.
Oh, I'm terrible with accents. You know.
Okay,
I'm sorry. I was like,
Tell you what,
I
a
can
lot
do
of
like
hardos
Rory.
on the text line this morning, too.
How about Charles?
Looking at you,
line.
Charles and Ted.
I love this line from Charles. It's a classic tough guy text line.
Yeah.
I grew up with E.T., Star Wars, and professional wrestling. Then I got to 7th grade and got a girlfriend.
You've been the man ever since, I'm sure.
That's fantastic. He's driving the IROC Z right now, the T-tops. Yippee Ki-yay is just from John this morning. Same to you, John. Back at you. I guess maybe that's what he's talking about. Ted, yes, we see your second text. We will not be reading that aloud. Clemson Allen, who always, for some reason, writes in his text messages in the third person, right? Clemson Allen named his doggy Chewy after the great Chewbacca. Matthew from Landrum, I used to think you were crazy, but now I see you're nuts. Austin Powers, way better than Star Wars. Well done. And Joe says...
They shouldn't be compared, though. Like, they're completely different. No similarities. Compare Austin Powers to James Bond if you want to.
Wait a second. Will says the proper response to May the 4th be with you is live long and prosper.
Oh.
Isn't that a Star Trek thing?
Yeah. I think he's making
Was that just a confusion?
That is a
else
Star
said
Trek
that
thing,
too.
yeah.
Okay, just making sure, because I get those...
Twitter, John said that.
I've only seen the 2 new Star Trek movies, so I'm pretty unfamiliar with Star Trek as a whole.
Gotcha. Whew, this is quite the start to the morning, but I should expect it. I guess we should have expected it on May the 4th this morning, and Justin really just trying to blow things up, saying Lord of the Rings is better than Star Wars. See, I can't weigh in on
Is that
you.
like Lord of the Dance? I don't know.
They all have their perks. That is the thing about like the hardcore Star Wars fans. Like they'll fight you on Star Wars if you like Harry Potter, you're a loser. It's all about Star Wars, or the Star Wars versus Star Trek debate. Like, listen, they're all like classic franchises that made a lot of money and have a lot of fans. We can like them all.
Absolutely.
I pretty much like them all. I love the Lord of the Rings movies. Seen them all a million times. Seen all the Star Wars movies a million times. Like them all. They're all great.
Question. Bringing us back around. Is Shane Beamer a Star Wars or Star Trek guy? That'll have to be the next question when we get him here on 107.5 The Game. I think that's really only a question that we could ask him on this show. Maybe Jay could get away with it in the afternoon if they have him on the halftime show again. We'll pass that along for sure. I'm going to finish filling out this poll question. At Tim Hill 107.5 is where it's going to pop up. What's the appropriate response to May the 4th be with you? Get back into sports. It's the early game. It's 107.5.
107.5 The Game. The game is on.
All right. And also with you. Exclamation point. Ignore it completely. I'm just going to put no.
I'm now looking at a Reddit of what
What's
the
that?
appropriate- Looking at a Reddit for the appropriate response. Nothing good.
Job? Too much?
Yeah, there's just a lot of like religion jokes in the church, but like, and also with you at church, and it seems kind of weird to do it in response to Star Wars as well, but that is just how it goes.
What's that? And also with you?
Yeah,
They changed it though. They updated it here in the last few years.
yeah, and with your spirit now,
Right.
you were saying that as well.
So I've got the 3, and also with you, ignore it completely. No. And should I go live long and prosper?
Yeah, that'll rob
Sure
people.
looks like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, Donald actually coming in with a solid tweet today.
That's a good one. Never heard in my life of Zoidberg.
Me either. I've heard of the show Futurama, but never watched it.
Well done, Sonny.
Zoidberg is like the character with the mouth.
Chris, so you didn't see it originally before Austin Powers and Shrek? That's disappointing, Chris. Saw that one in the theater, I believe. Fantastic. That is early Mike Myers.
Mm-hmm.
Heed! Hans! No!
He said that Chewbacca's voice was computer generated.
Yes, he's saying that. I see. I'm not buying it, though. See now. I was a little confused. Now I see some responses that are write-ins.
Kaiser's response about the Mandalorian is actually not a bad response. Mandalorian's creating a new generation of Star Wars fans.
Just what the world needs.
Yeah.
All right, about to head back in. Ezra.
All right, the Suddeth Automotive poll question has been decided upon. What is the appropriate response to May the 4th be with you? It is May the 4th. Just in case you're just waking up and you're like me and you don't necessarily keep track of the calendar every day. Carlton got us started on this thing. He kicked it off. And we've had a similar conversations. Actually, AJ had a preemptive tweet at me last night, knowing that this was going to come up. He is on my side on this thing. I'm not a Star Wars guy. Patrick is. Jen is also on my side here. So it's 2 against 1 this morning instead of 3 against 1 because Bill's continuing to celebrate the birthday month, I think is where he's at. He'll be back tomorrow. So we got 4 appropriate responses or selections for you on the poll question today. And someone says, May the 4th be with you. You say, and also with you. You ignore it completely. You just come back with a stern no. Or you really confuse them and go live long and prosper. Those are the 4 I have. Again, at middle of the 7-5 on Twitter where you can go.
I mean, and more importantly, we're bearing the lead here because it's Don Staley's birthday.
Wait a second, because John from over at Pawleys Island says, my son's birthday's today. I told my wife excitedly, we're going to have a Star Wars baby.
Oh, gosh.
She was not amused.
She's like, I can hold out. I can hold out to the 5th. I know I can. I know I can.
Well, happy birthday to Dawn Staley, obviously. And her domination looks like it will only continue and go to another level now with more McDonald's All-Americans coming in. And
more importantly, what would Dawn Staley say if somebody says, May the 4th be with you?
Right.
I would love to hear that response. Okay,
so what we figured out is the way we're going to lead off, and maybe this is why we don't talk to a lot of Carolina coaches on the show. They don't return our phone calls, is that we will only ask about Star Wars to begin, and maybe you ask in the middle and ask at the end, any kind of interview. Is Shea Beamer a Star Wars or Star Trek guy? We've gotten on the text line this morning. And what is the response from Dawn Staley when someone says, May the 4th be with you? She probably, thank you. It's my birthday. Yes.
Right.
I think she's got a little nerd in her, honestly.
Well, we all have a little nerd in us, right? Let's be very
Not that. Not that.
Everybody, Ted and Charles on the text line, they're the only guys that don't have any kind of nerd in them. We all have. The question is not whether you have some nerd in you. It's what kind of nerd are you?
Right.
I think Dawn Staley would admit to being a basketball nerd, obviously. I'm a baseball nerd. I mean, we all, the baseball nerds, right? Oh, what about the OPS and what's the average? And let me tell you what Joe Morgan hit in 1978. Sports, yeah, but man, you can get really nerdy with it real quick. What about the launch angle and the exit velocity? You can go you can go to a whole nother level. Basically, the Oakland A's made it to the playoffs because of nerds. They wrote a whole book. There's a whole industry of Moneyball. And now all professional sports, the whole thing. So there's
the new one is Marvel.
Marvel's another nerd level, right?
Yeah,
Game of Thrones nerds.
They released their full slate of movies for the next 3 years.
Right, and you're all over it, correct? You love it.
I've seen every one of them. I've seen all the series too. Yeah, for sure.
Kaiser's suggested write-in vote for response to May the 4th be with you. It's a good one because it's from the movie Mandalorian.
The show.
Sorry. Is there a show and a movie?
No, there's no movie. It's a Disney Plus
show?
series. Yeah, it's just a series. Yeah.
Shows you my level of Star Wars nerd.
Kind of embarrassing there, Tim.
This is so embarrassing. He says, when someone says, May the 4th be with you, if you want to be impressive, and if you have no clue whether Mandalorian's a movie or a TV series, but you want to fit in today, go with This Is the Way.
Yep.
Patrick, you approve that?
Yeah, I think it's a good one. It's topical.
You say so. All right, let's end with Adam, who really wanted to get this out this morning. Longest text message we've had in a little while. He says, I'm 41 years old, big Star Wars fan. My kids also love Star Wars. We catch every movie that comes out. I grew up as a kid wrapping paper rolls into lightsabers, collecting figures. Still today, will often imitate the Chewbacca growl just for kicks and giggles. However, as I've gotten older, my love for Star Wars still exists, but I can't say I'm a big enough fan to have seen every cartoon series, although I will watch episodes every now and then on Disney+. On that note, new Star Wars movie series, Bad Batch, premiered today on Disney+. Have a great day, guys. May the 4th be with you. Thank you, Adam.
Poop.
Oh, John coming with Thundercats. Nice, John.
Is that a dance team for
How dare you? Thundercats ho, John. I hear you. Yeah, Burr can get in on a big series. DeLorean and Breaking Bad. Good for him.
Yep.
Chris says we're supposed to say it is the way instead of this is the way. We're supposed to say it is the way.
Either one.
Unbelievable.
It is, yeah. That's right. Close enough.
Craig, I am way too familiar with the series Parenthood, sir. Yes, I have seen all of it. Good show.
Actually, maybe you kind of combine some Austin Powers thing and be like, do this kind of a thing. If you're responding to one of those fourth with you.
I didn't have the video up. What was the move,
Or
Jeff?
just, he would do things like tractor beam or, Right.
The series is so long. Is that what you're saying?
Because I had to die.
What is? Okay.
Howard the Duck. Well done, Steve. I'm guessing Patrick has not heard of Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck actually had cameos in the Marvel movies.
What?
Yeah.
Howard the Duck. Sorry. That's funny.
See, I think when there's a couple things that are big time, if you watch them, you're a sci-fi nerd. Star Wars is mainstream. I would say Doctor Who is a big one because that show is wildly popular, and there's a million episodes of it. And what's the Battlestar Galactica?
Oh my gosh.
Those are two huge ones. Or like anything on the Sci-Fi Channel. Like if you watch the Sci-Fi Channel a lot.
Oh, that's a good question, Craig. Good question. Those are completely opposite nerds, too.
Oh, completely.
Pro wrestling nerds and Star Wars nerds, I feel like, are opposite ends of the spectrum.
Opposite levels of aggression.
Yeah, I kind of wish that I was into wrestling growing up, but don't have the slightest clue.
Yeah, and I don't think you hit a good era. Yeah, was it like Stone Cold Steve Austin when you were growing up? Probably. I remember he was big when I was in college, which is basically when you were born. So you probably still would have missed that.
What, the end of the Attitude Era?
Sounds right. All right, Chris is getting personal on you, Patrick.
Attack of the Clones, because I like when there are a lot of Jedi, and I like that battle in the arena at the end. It's by far my favorite battle in any movie, just because there's like a million Jedi fighting at once. It's pretty sweet.
Do you hear things like pew 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 pew?
Oh yeah.
No? Okay.
Oh yeah.
That'd be the only reason I'd watch it, so I could just do that the entire time.
C-3PO is running around with his head stuck on a droid. It's not good.
Okay.
I appreciate the old ones, but yeah, the effects are so bad that it's kind of difficult for me to enjoy it as much. All right, add Neil to the list.
Yeah, I saw that one. First of all, if your name is Neil, you can't be added to the bully list. Not a bully name.
Any comment about kids that didn't play sports like Star Wars when everyone is listening to a sports talk station right now puts you on the hard of the week list?
Exactly.
Right now it's Ted, Charles, and Neil. I'll keep tabs. Yeah, see, Revenge of the Sith is a good one. Those Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, they just have the most action, and the effects were up to par. 1977, I mean, the lightsaber battle it's just hard to buy. Yeah, convention is, Comic-Con's a different level.
Yeah.
What is that 5 game? What's your name?
Oh, let's hear this.
It is.
Game calculator is back.
All right. Good news, everybody. Good news. Now, he is literally in the hospital. So while I want to have fun with him with his Star Wars stuff, I also don't want to upset him.
Well,
It's going to be tricky.
if you get his heart racing a little bit because he's fired up, then they'll just run right back in.
What do you mean run right back in? He's not outside of the hospital talking to us.
No, that's what I mean, but they'll leave the room right now, and then his meter will go up because he's fired up.
We're back
Yeah,
in.
we're back.
Say that again.
Messed up.
You guys are up. Yeah, there you go. See,
Welcome in hour number 2.
see, he can't.
Oh,
he
may the
can't
4th
escape.
be with you.
All
Is
right,
where
hold on
Dalton
for me.
started us off this morning. And that's where we are. That has brought up the whole question. What's the appropriate response when somebody says that to you this morning, this afternoon, in the middle of the day? AJ got us started on Twitter with this last night. He hit me up with a preemptive strike with just a picture of the Godfather movies and said, no, it's my patriotic duty to offset the ridiculous we're going to see with imagery from an actual cinematic franchise. John suggested on Twitter the response of live long and prosper. So that's on there at Tim Hill 1075 where you can go and vote. You can just go with ignore the comment. You can go with a stern no, or you can go with and also with you if you're on the other side of that thing. Donald is putting this in proper perspective, by the way. I appreciate this one from Donald. He said, grow up, for anybody who's criticizing sci-fi or Star Wars fans. Guys, we follow a sport where fans crow like roosters, say weird things like rock chalk, bark like dogs in Athens, call the hogs in Fayetteville, ring cowbells down in Starkville. Very good point, though.
If you've ever barked like a dog in a crowd of people, you can't comment on any of this.
Oh, you can definitely comment, but just
it will be
So
invalidated.
hypocrite. Yeah.
It will be quickly invalidated. Yeah.
I'm guessing you would comment on the less mature side and be in that camp. But even so, and Patrick, I believe your point earlier was about your nerd level, right? And my point is, we are all nerds in some kind of way, except for some of you weighed in tough on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Like Neil, this is the best tough guy comment you'll get in the Star Wars conversation. What percentage of the hardcore Star Wars fans, were the ones cut from their sports teams? I wager it's pretty high.
Yeah.
Gerald has a suggestion. Jen, you unearthed the fact that today is Dawn Staley's birthday.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So Gerald suggests when you see Dawn Staley today, you say, may the final 4th be with you.
Very nice.
Good.
I like it to be to a point where, may the 4th national championship be with you. So I'm looking forward to getting to that point. I'm sure she is too.
3 years from now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Star Wars junkies that didn't have baseball practice, anonymous texter says. Oh, good one. Dan in Somerton thinks way too much like me. He suggests the response to May the 4th be with you is Nanu Nanu.
Oh, Mork and Mindy.
You want to go old school
Sweet.
and really, really confuse people. That's the way to do it.
What was the handshake? Wasn't it the meeting of the fingers or something?
Yeah, the V.
Yeah, the V.
Never watched it, but I've never seen it, but I know what it is. I know it's Robin Williams. I actually watched Good Morning Vietnam last night too.
Impressive. All right, from the sports perspective, it was a Georgia flip yesterday, a Georgia commit flipping to Carolina that has some momentum for Gamecock football recruiting. Now, that happened, I think, pretty much right after our show went down. So this is not any kind of breaking news, but is the latest for Shane Beamer, who was actually on the golf course yesterday with his dad. The Chick-fil-A Coaches Golf Classic going on, and Frank Beamer still a part of that thing. Shane Beamer now representing the Gamecocks. It was Steve Spurrier and Sterling Sharp playing in that thing for years and years, and I think they battled Frank Beamer and Del Curry maybe one time. It might have been a different teammate for Frank Beamer in that thing with Virginia Tech connection. But so that's going on. I believe it's a 2-day deal, and they'll be back on the golf course again today. And we have gotten a suggestion that we should check and see if Shane Beamer is a Star Wars or Star Trek guy. Now, are these different guys, Patrick? Because I am neither one of those guys. You don't have to be either or, because you can definitely be neither. And if you are a Star Wars guy, can you also be a Star Trek guy, is my question.
I think the Star Wars guys that we were talking about earlier that go to Comic-Con and all that stuff and dress up, I think they would argue that you absolutely cannot be either. Like, I think it's like against their code to even watch 1 second of any Star Trek movie. I think, but I mean, yeah. I mean, I've seen the 2 new ones with Chris Pine because like they're pretty cool action and the effects were good, and I just don't know anything about Star Trek. But I've never seen any of the ones with William Shatner. Like, so I couldn't comment. But I think there's a ton of those Star Trek movies, like more than Star Wars, is my impression. I could be completely wrong with that though. Well, there's also a Star Trek series that's I think pretty popular on CBS right now. With
a new one, you're saying, not the original.
Yeah, with James Stewart, with Professor X from X-Men. Yeah.
Okay, if you say so. And that's Patrick Stewart, I believe, right?
Patrick Stewart, yeah. Who's James Stewart?
No idea. I do know that Jeff hit us.
Oh, wait, I know James Stewart is. Never mind.
Jeff says on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, I catch hell every time I confess what I'm about to confess to you, which is by far the best way to start a text message that we've ever had on the show. Jeff says, I've never watched a single episode of Star Wars. I have no desire to do so. Yes, I have kids. Yes, they've watched them. For me, I'm good. Happy Tuesday. Welcome in, Jeff. Welcome. You're amongst friends.
Fair.
Best thing that came from Star Wars is the bad lip-reading music videos on YouTube. Robert, do you have any idea what he's talking about?
I've seen the bad lip readings. They do them for like you'll see like the NFL season.
And they make it up.
Yeah, and I mean they do a really good job. But I don't know particularly what he's talking about with Star Wars. I've only seen the NFL one where it's like Tom Brady sitting on the bench and they'll just make up words. But I'm sure they have it for Star Wars.
Jacob just hit us up in response to Jeff. Said, hey, Jeff, do you want to be best friends? Making connections here on the show. Love it. Craig hits us up. Tim, that question you're asking, Star Wars and Star Trek is like fish in widespread panic. A few love both, but most pick a side. Okay, so I guess as opposed to the sci-fi nerd version of the question is Star Wars or Star Trek. The hippie music person version of the question is fish or widespread panic. That sound fair, Patrick?
I'll defer to Craig. It sounds right to me. We'll double check with the halftime guys. I'm curious how this will go over if someone texts Heath, May the 4th be with you this I'm really curious.
It's amazing, though, how people get so pumped up about this. Like Anonymous Extra just hit us up. I agree with Jeff 100%. Never, ever one single Star Wars movie, and dang proud. No, okay.
Everybody on the text line thinks they're going to get their man card taken if they've watched Star Wars. It's okay, guys.
It's the sound effects, I think, for me. Pew, 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 pew. That was
Yeah. They're corny. They're objectively corny. But that's part of their charm.
You say so. 803-404-6100. Neil says, my chest hair grew an inch just listening to Jeff's text. Rooster P, weighing in from Illinois this morning. May the 4th be with youans. That's good for you, Rooster P. Driving that 18-wheeler across this great land. Good to hear from you, sir. We will try to get the show back on track, back on the road, if you will. We have been sidetracked for sure. Fortunately, I think our favorite 86-year-old caller will help us do that as we continue to roll on here in hour 2. We'll hear what Gamecock Larry has to predict and has to admonish us about this morning when we come back. You're listening to the early game here. Jason says he's wearing Star Wars underoos. That's 107.5. Oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
I love all the texts.
Yeah. A lot of unlikable people on the text line this morning.
Or they're just being funny, Patrick.
Some of them you can tell that they're not there.
Can you tell me what Gator Steve is trying to say?
No. I don't understand that. There have to be a few things is the meaning of
What's that?
He has to have missed a couple words.
Right. I'm thinking so.
It's not a coherent thought. I think we got to change on the text line.
Yeah, no longer with USC Hockey, but it does help me reckon
Which one it is?
by him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, your boy Mel Kiper Jr. had the Cleveland Browns way down on his list of draft class evaluations
Really?
as a B.
Well, his lowest grade, I think, B minus.
Chargers 1, Dolphins 2, Jets next, Ravens, and Bears. So not too different from yours, right?
Yeah. I just have no respect for his opinion.
With a top-rated
No respect for what?
For his opinion. Steelers, Saints at C. The worst grade is a C+. So I don't know what you're supposed to do with that.
I don't think. Surely you got to click on something else to get all of them, right?
For what?
Yeah, I think you're right.
On the rankings?
Yeah, you're right.
Steelers and Saints.
Team as a B.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty. I think they were very minimal. They had certain things they were looking for. I don't like drafting a long snapper in the 6th round who didn't even play last year, but
Incredible. We still got Gamecock Larry there. Oh, sorry. I see that you're writing me now.
Yeah, so far so good.
We'll get them all. Nice, Chris. Need input. Oh, Sonny is doing some uncomfortable digging, it looks like, on the internet.
you might have. That's the last time I've been on Facebook, so that would make sense. It's been, what, 7 years? My senior pick was pretty awesome, though.
Glamour shots?
I had a nice middle part.
All right, head back in. Guys are up.
Our hot take hotline, there for you 24/7. Even when it's not May the 4th, it's there for you. Even when our local shows aren't on, the hot take hotline is there for you. 803-978-6654 is the number. It's sponsored by Twin Peaks, the men who never settle. Go see them down in the Vista, 600 Gervais Street, where you can visit Twin Peaks. And that hot take hotline, our buddy Gamecock Larry knows it well. Sometimes he just has some stuff he needs to get off his chest. We appreciate that. It's there for you. We can record it. We can play it back on a show. But right now, we can have our favorite 86-year-old caller live on the Love Chevy phone lines on May the 4th, where we've been talking about that Star Wars mess a bunch. And I'm guessing, Gamecock Larry, you have never seen a Star Wars movie. Is that correct, sir?
I've never seen a Star Wars movie. I've never seen a movie, period. I've never listened to any show rock. Whatever y'all call that music. I was born in a sharecropper family. I was too poor to do any of that thing. I played with bricks and marbles. Now, let me, I was done to just one thing. What I want to ask you, tell her when you go off this morning. The next 3 games we got, 3 series. I want to know how many of these you had at home, because we're going to sweep at least 2 of them and win the others. Go Gamecocks.
Gamecock Larry, ladies and gentlemen. That's him ditching us for his doctors coming in the hospital room. Gamecock Larry, I know you said you had some procedures set. Hope those go well. glad to know you're keeping us updated there. And we'll be happy to let you know, but you're probably not listening to us now. You're probably listening to the doctor. I hope you're listening to the doctor.
Hopefully.
This weekend, Mississippi State series at home. Next weekend, at Kentucky, finishing up with Tennessee at home. 2 of the final 3 series at home against 2 of the best teams in the country with Mississippi State and Tennessee. That's where Gamecock baseball is tonight. They're at home, North Florida. The Ospreys coming into Founders Park, 7 o'clock tonight. I believe that was the game last year, Patrick, where the foul ball blew up the beer. Pretty sure that was North Florida.
And we were trying to track down the
Christmas
beer it was.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Jimmy D, back to our poll question today, the Side of the Automotive poll question. What is the appropriate response to May the 4th? Jimmy D just simply says, we have days for everything else. Why not Star Wars? Proud fan here. Creative visionary. George Lucas created a cultural phenomenon. Well, Jimmy D, there's no arguing that. Clearly, a cultural phenomenon. That's why we're talking about it on Sports Talk Radio. Star Wars upgrades man cards. Unlike Dan Patrick's show yesterday, the hot guy draft on a Sports Talk show. Seriously? No thanks, Dan. You lost it. That's from Dave.
What's the hot guy draft?
I don't know. I didn't catch that yesterday. But I'm a little perturbed by your level of enthusiasm about it.
Oh. Or is it athletes or just any hot guys?
I was just wondering if you were in there. I guess.
No, number one, David Beckham for doing athletes.
I believe him. He's jumping right in there, huh?
It's
Daniel
an easy choice.
hits us up with a picture of Vader Crunch, the T-shirt. Apparently, there was a Star Wars cereal. He says the original trilogy, great movies. The prequels are meh. The last 3 are trash. Alan, on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. I watched the early Star Wars movies and loved them. Plus, I still have my R2D2 figurine. Come at me.
They're
So that,
actually very valuable to Star Wars toys. Some of them.
don't they have to be in the original packaging and all that?
Yeah, that's the problem.
It's the
Yeah,
dumbest
that's
thing
no
ever.
fun. Yeah.
It's so dumb.
Why is it dumber than sports cards?
No. It's dumb that it has to be in the original packaging to be valuable. Like, there are people that just buy stuff now and keep them in the package, right?
Yeah.
What is that? What are you doing?
I feel that's exactly how I feel about the NBA Top Shot. I bought it just so that I could sell it. So if you buy things, it's just an investment, I guess.
I mean, I have like John Deere tractor implements, that I have them out of the box. I'm not playing with them necessarily, but I at least have them, up and visible.
What does that mean? Implements?
Like tractors, like John Deere tractors that are toys.
Like real tractors or the toys? Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't have room to park a, 8430 or something in my drive, but I've got we have a shelving unit like on a wall, so I have like Indy cars and NASCAR and John Deere tractors. Okay. I may have just lost my. Okay, go ahead.
No, clearly, you just continue to outdistance us in manliness, Jim.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I don't know. I enjoy that, stuff, and it's fun just to kind of see the.
I don't ever want to have a yard, so I don't really want to worry about John Deere.
Well,
I never want to have a yard.
Oh, no, you're missing out.
Condo guy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Keep me in an apartment, please.
Well, these are more things that have to do with, like actual farming. I don't know.
Wait a sec. I had no idea. T. Ray just hits us up on Facebook Live. T. Ray, good to hear from you. I don't think we've heard from you before. Farm equipment is known as implements of husbandry. There's so many words there. I have no idea what they mean.
Yeah.
Jen, can you confirm?
I'm a little lost on the implements of husbandry. I don't
Okay.
know. But anyway, farm implements is what I know of as being John Deere. You've got plows and discs and tractors and combines, and those are farm implements.
And you have basically the toy versions hanging out at your house.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah. I'll have to take a
There are a lot of John Deere toys. I guess, might have been over Thanksgiving. My dad was looking at John Deere, so we were walking around the John Deere store, and they had a million different John Deere toys.
Oh.
Some of them look pretty fun, like the ones you can ride around in for the kids, like little
We have
I don't know what you call those.
they have like a little gator, and then there's
Yeah.
tractors and
Yeah.
Now, this begs the question, Jim. Clearly, your husband did not, during your courtship, bring up the fact that he has Star Wars toys, and then you came back with, yeah, well, I have a tractor.
there are no Star Wars toys. Yeah, no. I don't think he ever watched any of those movies either. So, but he knew my affinity for anything related to farm.
That makes sense.
And
I just would assume that would not be a match for you.
no, probably not. I mean, to each his own. To each his own. Maybe that'd be an interest that I could have been drawn into or something. But no.
Very kind. Trey hits us up. Who cares? Air text line. Late 80s and early 90s kids have the sweet spot. We got the re-releases for the original trilogy, which made us excited and able to appreciate the prequels. He says Jar Jar Dabo is a sequel. Is that a compliment?
Dabo. Is that where Dabo got his name?
I think that was a Star Wars insult, but I'm not positive.
What?
I have
Jar
no
Jar
idea.
Dabo is a Sith Lord.
I thought it was Jar Jar Binks.
It is Jar Jar Binks.
Okay.
Yeah, that is a conspiracy that the character is a Sith Lord, but Jar Jar Dabo is slightly over my head. I mean, Jar Jar Binks is a just bumbling idiot. So, I mean, that's probably...
That's why you call him Jar Jar Dabo. Okay, I get it. That's very cool. Very funny.
Brewster P says Jen rocks with the collection. You have elevated your status, I think, in Brewster P's dream girl mind.
I'll have to send a picture or do a little video. Just
Yes,
so you can see my collection.
we definitely need to see your implements here. Sentence I never thought I would utter. And on that, we'll take a break. Kick off the second half of the show when we come back. A strange reason that Aaron Rodgers got ticked at the Green Bay Packers. Maybe not so strange, just it shows me the level of just dysfunction going on between Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. We'll do it. We'll talk more Gamecock baseball as well. Give you the pitching matchup for tonight's North Florida game. Get back into the latest with Gamecock football and the flip from Florida committing to the Gamecocks. That's all in the second half of the show. It's the early game here on May the 4th.
Don't do it.
With you or not? I want to 75 again. Oh, now we've gone to a whole nother level.
What?
Check out the last text message. Anonymous number, or the number, and not the name.
All right.
Those of you watching the text message, which I will not read on the air. The new Star Wars movies are way too liberal. And it ends with an LOL, so is he just being funny? Funny?
I think it might have been a angry LOL.
And what is Luke Skywalker's stepdad was a farmer? I don't even get that. Am I supposed to get that?
Technically, yeah. No, you're not supposed to get it.
Tying into the conversation.
He pretty much lived in the desert, but I think they did do some.
What did they farm?
I don't know if it was actual farming. In some of the movies, they just kind of like make food out of I don't even know. In the newest movie, she like pours water over some rock-looking thing, and it just turns into like a loaf of bread. They're very far in the future in that movie.
Oh, dang.
Trevor Lawrence shots.
Nice. Schoolhouse Rock, that was amazing. We had to be able to literally for a civics class in high school to graduate, it obviously passed the class, but part of that was we had to write out the preamble.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's in there singing, we the people, so you hear everybody like kind of singing along in class. Pretty hysterical. So, yay, Schoolhouse Rock.
For a while, we had my parents had gotten one of the cars that had the TV, the Suburban with the TV. You could play DVDs. And for a while, the only thing we were allowed to watch was Schoolhouse Rock. So,
Good parenting.
seen all of those a million times. America Rock, and then my dad was.
Where I'm a Bill, that one?
That's one of them, yeah.
Conjunction Junction. What's your function?
Yeah, all the vocabulary ones.
Yeah.
Unpack your adjectives. Yeah, lolly, lolly, lolly. Get your adverbs here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those are helpful.
John, isn't F3 a morning thing? Great question. So, Patrick, what I need you to do right now before we come back is figure out exactly how many Star Wars movies there have been. And it's either a W or an L. Give me the record of Star Wars movies, in your opinion. Okay?
Okay. Well,
Don't tell us online.
We'll read that text on the air, too, because
Yeah, it's a good one.
it doesn't make any sense.
I love it. Okay, good. It makes complete sense to me. Yeah. John, you know our show starts at 6, right, man? 6 to 9 every morning. And
He's
it's
thinking that you could
a great
skip it.
excuse not to work out.
Yeah, the math just isn't checking out in that text at all.
Okay. So as long as you can correct it, I'm good with it.
No, I'm not talking about the Star Wars part of it.
Oh, no. Oh, I see. Oh, you're just going movie nerd part of it. Love it.
No, I'm not going movie nerd part of it. I'm going logic part of it.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, guys, Rep.
All right, guys. We're getting creative on the show today. Being creative can also get you some free concert tickets. Just the fact that we're able to give you some concert tickets, the fact that we're able to talk about an actual concert is a great sign. And I will take all the Star Wars nerddom today on May the 4th and trade it for actually having some live events popping up. You know, we've been fortunate enough to have sports to some degree, but the concert world has been completely taken out. Now we're starting to see it come back, and it's a great sign that we're giving away Genesis tickets this week. On Friday, that's when these tickets go on sale. They're coming to the Spectrum Center up in Charlotte, November 20th. The tickets go on sale Friday. We're giving away 5 pairs of those tickets this Friday, and we're going to do it to those of you who hit us up on social media. Give us the hashtag 1075Genesis so we know exactly what you're doing there. 1075Genesis, hashtag. But just send us a video of a little air drum of In the Air tonight. Oh, yeah, Patrick, you looked it up. This is classic Star Wars nerddom, getting down to the nitty-gritty, I guess. That's technically a Phil Collins solo song. Come on, Phil Collins is Genesis. I'm throwing it all in there. You give us the classic air drums to In the Air. Jen, and we'll play some of that a little later on, just in case you don't know what we're talking about. Patrick, you're 25 years old. You know what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, of course.
You haven't.
It's very famous for, I guess, younger people for
Okay.
Mike Tyson punching Stu in the face in The Hangover to that beat.
Gotcha. So that's how you know. That's how you came to it. Okay, if you have to think of it that way, think of it as the Hangover song with Mike Tyson punching Stu in the face. Do your air drum version of that. It only has to be, 15 seconds, maybe, somewhere in there. You can get a little more creative with it if you want to, but we're going to take the 5 best videos that we get this week. Those are going to be our 5 winners for a pair of tickets to go see Genesis up in Charlotte on November 20th. There you go. Hit us up Facebook, Twitter. You guys know it. We're on YouTube as well. I guess you could probably post it on YouTube. I don't know how that works exactly, but looking forward to seeing some of the creativity from you guys on this. I admire this creative text in here. I'll do that in a minute, but first I wanted to say what I just hinted on. We've seen one of the reasons that Aaron Rodgers is not happy with the Green Bay Packers came out.
Yeah.
Your boy Ian Rappaport said yesterday on the NFL. Yeah. Apparently, as opposed to drafting Jordan Love in the first round, it was cutting an undrafted free agent out of Wisconsin, Whitewater, that really ticked him off. Aaron Rodgers, I'm talking about. But this was after, I guess, the day after Aaron Rodgers was publicly praising Coomer at 20 catches and a couple of touchdowns, 322 yards. Just before the start of the 2020 season, this was 2019, I guess, where he put up
in preseason, yeah.
But this kind of boggles my mind. Patrick, it sounds like to me that you're on the Green Bay Packers side of this.
No.
No?
I'd be furious at the organization. I'm anti-Brian Gutekunst on all of this. I think he's a moron, and I think he has some sort of grudge against Aaron Rodgers. Like, Aaron Rodgers isn't perfect, and I'm not the biggest Aaron Rodgers fan in the world, but he has every right to be angry given everything that's gone down. Just the draft the other day, the Bucs took Kyle Trask in the second round. Right before they did it, they called Tom Brady and said, "Hey, you cool if we take Kyle Trask? Just want to let you know, don't want to take you by surprise. Obviously, he's not going to serve you." The Bears called Andy Dalton, who's been there for a month, not even. I don't even know how long he's been there, and said, "Hey, we're trading up to take Justin Fields." So just the combination of things, trading up to get Jordan Love, not telling Aaron Rodgers they were trading up to get Jordan Love, not giving him a deal that would give him any sort of security for the future, the organization not committing to him, never drafting him a first-round skill position player, and then little things like that. It's just he praises Jake Kumerow after a preseason game publicly, and the next day they cut him, is almost just giving him a middle finger and blatantly trying to mess with him. I don't know what that accomplishes at all. It's really bizarre. I mean, most quarterbacks of Aaron Rodgers' stature have personnel say, and they get to basically handpick their receivers because they're the ones throwing to them. So just adding all of it up, people were making fun of it yesterday. If Jake Kumerow is the reason that we lose Aaron Rodgers, then Aaron's just a bigger baby than we thought, and things like that. It's all right, well, it's obviously not just the Jake Kumerow situation. That's just one piece of evidence that's involved in all of this. So, no, I think Aaron Rodgers, if I was Aaron Rodgers, I'd be furious with that organization.
Saw a tweet, I should say, from Peter Burns of the SEC Network. He mentioned that the Dolphins to Tua Tagovailoa. Hey, you want a college teammate you used to throw to? Well, we'll draft him.
Yeah.
Bengals to Joe Burrow. Hey, you want a college teammate that you threw to? Well, we'll draft him. The Green Bay Packers to Aaron Rodgers. By no means necessary, or something like that. Will we ever draft an offensive skill player in the first round? And what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, everyone's doing it. What has Matt Ryan had to work with his entire career? It's been ridiculous, the receivers that he's had. From Roddy White and Julio to Julio and Calvin Ridley. Now they got Kyle Pitts. The Giants just got Kenny Galladay, and they drafted Kadarius Toney. They're giving Daniel Jones weapons all over the place. 2 draft picks for Drew Lock last year. Everybody's getting all these weapons. Drew Brees has had a million receivers to throw to. Of all the great quarterbacks, and it's going to go down as this generation is going to be Brady, Manning, Brees, Rodgers. Those would be the Mount Rushmore of the, I guess, 2000s, and he's had by far the least to work with. Like, not even
Josh says Patrick's thoughts on Rodgers is right. To me, Patrick, as you're talking about this, obviously you don't want a player to run the organization. But it goes down to what we're always talking about. You earn the power in your organization, right? These college kids that come out and don't do a dang thing and then announce they're transferring, like, good luck, man. You came in and you had a bunch of hype and you didn't live up to it and you didn't get playing time. Good luck earning it somewhere else. Or another situation, you got a prima donna on a team that comes in and thinks he's going to get the organization to bend to him, and it doesn't work that way, and there are sour feelings and you're pouting on the sideline the whole thing. Well, that's on you, man. If you're Aaron Rodgers, who has been the second most productive quarterback in the last 2 decades behind only Tom Brady, I guess you had to throw Drew Brees in there too. Third max, right? That's at the league.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 3 or 4 MVPs. Drew Brees was never the MVP of the NFL. That's the one glaring thing on his resume. He was never an MVP.
I understand too. Aaron, like you mentioned, Aaron Rodgers not perfect, right? He has the rift with his family, the whole thing. He's a high profile guy, deep thinker, a little offbeat, right? You want to discuss some chemtrails and whatever. There's video out there him talking to teammates about all that. He's not a guy that's going to always shut his mouth and be and give you the lip service. That's how I see Aaron Rodgers. But he is always a guy who's going to produce on the field and has done that. And how it's gotten here with the Green Bay Packers, I put more on the Packers than I put on Aaron Rodgers. And especially the fact that this has come out recently publicly. I think that was kind of the story from Ian Rappaport, is that Rodgers is just as miffed by that than he is about any of the actual issues that have come up. Because now the story came out that he's not happy with the organization, right? And he's painted as the bad guy. And I could understand why you're not happy that that's how it's coming out. I mean, I don't understand the thinking there. This is very Houston Texans-like thinking, I feel like, that we're going to paint our guy as the bad guy so we can get public perception behind us and then move him out and move forward, and we'll come out smelling like roses. That is never how it works from an organization when you're talking about really productive players. Now, if you're talking about a guy that's marginal, Odell Beckham Jr. with the Giants maybe, right? Talented guy, a couple of good games, but game in and game out, not a guy you can count on. He's about wrestling with the old kicking net on the sidelines and being ridiculous, really talented, but not one of the best players. Maybe one of the best talents in the NFL, but clearly the production's not matching the talent. Then you can get away with that. But you're talking about Aaron Rodgers. You're talking about Deshaun Watson from a player production standpoint. You're not going to win those as organizations in the NFL.
And I mean, Deshaun obviously had some solid grievances with getting rid of DeAndre Hopkins and all that, but like, at least they did make a, albeit outrageous and overpriced trade, but they traded and said, hey, Deshaun's got no blindside protection. We're going to do whatever we can to get Laramie Tunsil in here. Like, the Packers have never done things like that. Like, their left tackle, David Bakhtiari, I think was a 4th round pick. So like, not a lot of resources spent there, and he just turned out to be great, which was lucky for them. But yeah, I mean, just no resources devoted to helping him. And then one of the most, including like the consensus board, Eric Stokes was it was a huge reach in the first round, and one of the bigger reaches of the first round, when guys like Elijah Moore, who were immediately snagged once day 2 started, and most teams had his first round picks, like guys like that are sitting there, and it just, I don't know what is going on, but it actually does feel like Gutekunst or Mark Murphy, whoever is actually calling the shots there, is trying to stick it to Rodgers in some way that's completely baffling. I don't understand it at all.
It's hard for me to understand where Ken's coming from on this. It's a little bit before my time. It is May 4th. So back to that Star Wars theme. You could not have been a high school senior when Star Wars was released, Ken says. and not take a date to see the movie. Ken takes it one step further. I took 3 different girls to see the movie because they all picked that movie to go see. Impressive. Now, this one will take us to our final break here in hour number 2. And you guys, I got Patrick to do the math here. And would you say you completely disagree with this text? Star Wars, if 6 of the 9 movies stink, is the franchise really any good? Would we defend a 3-6 football team?
Yeah, I completely disagree.
But there are 9 movies. Is that correct?
I mean, it depends how you want to slice it. There's 9 in the trilogy, but then they did 2 standalone movies and there's also, I mean, somebody mentioned the animated. I don't count the animated, but I would say there's 11 movies.
Okay. But just the fact that you said there's 9 in the trilogy, isn't a trilogy?
Or in like what would be called like the Skywalker saga. Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, we got to decide on, let's go with 11 then, and then I need a record from you Star Wars nerds out there. How many wins, how many losses out of the 11 Star Wars movies? We'll get
I'm counting Rogue One and Solo.
Speaking Japanese to me.
But the Star Wars people will know.
Good luck out there, people. May the Fourth be with you. It's the early game. It's 175. I love that made you shake your head, Jim. Strong. See that text immediately in? Just a record.
Yeah. That's what I'm at, yeah.
Good morning, Hope. Now, I'm guessing Hope is not a Star Wars girl. That's just my guess. It is May the 4th, Hope, is why I immediately go to that. Because I'm guessing you probably didn't even realize that either.
There you go.
Yep. Notice she said she's seen them. Oh, Mark, I appreciate that. It is May the 4th. Basically, the International Day of Star Wars. Good morning, Travis. I don't know what that is. Do you know?
What?
The Bad Batch?
Yeah, it's a series that's coming out of Disney Plus.
Bad Batch.
Good morning, Jim.
Fair.
Interesting.
Stick with the classic.
So it's a Star Wars series?
Yeah, there was another series called The Clone Wars that was really big and popular, but I haven't seen it. I've only seen the movie. And The Mandalorian. Did you see what Russell Westbrook did last night, Tim?
Solidified the triple-double, averaging again?
Yeah, but the only player in NBA history now to have multiple triple doubles with over 20 points and over 20 assists and over 20 rebounds.
Right, and your point about not wanting to have him and him being a stat snagger is solidified, right?
We're winning basketball games right now. We're actually quite hot. Do I think we would do anything in the playoffs? No shot. But the score of the game last night was 154 to 141 in regulation.
Wow, nice.
It's outrageous.
I
think the Pacers were coming off the biggest win in NBA history. They beat the Thunder 152 to 95. By 57 points.
Tanya, we heard from Gamecock Larry earlier. Feel free to update us if you would like. When people hear Gamecock Larry in the hospital, they start getting very concerned.
Yep.
Okay, so he's getting pacemaker today.
Oh, for sure. Okay. He said he thought he was getting one. I said, "Oh, dude, easy peasy." I said, "You'll feel so much better." Easy for me to say, but
Now, Tanya, I'm guessing at the VA hospital, is that right? I'm guessing if you guys would like to send flowers to Gamecock Larry at the VA hospital, you could do that. To Gamecock Larry, VA hospital, take care of it.
there is. Everybody should know what room that is.
Maybe care of Dr. Bulldog. They'll get there.
Don't send him any magnets. All right, you guys are up.
Rolling into hour number 3. Coming off a text message that said, if 6 of the 9 movies stink, how can you consider Star Wars a great movie franchise? You never defend a 3-6 football team, which Patrick immediately took exception to. And you're going with 11 as the actual number of Star Wars movies here on May the 4th. So what's the record? What is your record if it's an 11 movie series? Somebody hit us up immediately after we asked for one and just went 8-3. It looks like somebody else hit us up here on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Josh saying the original 3, the best Star Wars, but as an overall record, I'd say 7-4. The last 3, not that good. The Rogue One was terrible. What do you got, Patrick? What is your Star Wars record?
I would say 8-3, 7-4. I could probably accept, but if it's just a pass fail deal, I'm saying 8-3. But I have different losses than who said 8-3 the first time. It was Eric. He said episodes 1, 2, and Solo are the losses. I agree on episode 1. I agree on Solo, but I love episode 2, Attack of the Clones. The original 3 that came out in the 70s, hit, easy. The one that came out in like 99 or 2000, terrible. The 2 after that, good. I loved the first one of these most recent trilogy, Force Awakens, but the very last movie that came out was bad. So I'm saying episode 1, episode 9, and Solo.
But I think the original point still stands. We're talking about an Outback Bowl team, right?
8-3?
Yeah.
I mean, we'd be pretty happy with that.
Okay, but I'm just saying it's not a national championship winner. It's not a college football playoff contender there. What?
The question was, would we support them? We sure would.
All right, that's different. And also some people getting out their issues here on May the 4th, like Robert. I was practically forced to watch the original 3 Star Wars movies by some friends of mine. Also had to watch the first one of the second trilogy by my stepdad. Needless to say, my mom divorced that guy. I'm no longer friends with those fellas, mainly because they moved to Utah before MySpace was even cool, but still. I have no idea how MySpace even worked into there and really what we're doing on this show. But hour 3 is coming up. Thank you, Tanya. Morning, Anthony.
Morning, Anthony.
Now, Anthony is the voice of reason here. Notice how Anthony said, "Good morning, everyone." He did not say, "May the 4th be with you." Good to see you, Anthony.
I'm gonna fill this coffee cup up. I'm gonna rank the Star Wars movies on the
Let's see how many votes we're up to on the old poll question. Always is the right answer. Right. Can't believe. And also with you is leading the way. Oh, what you got there, Patrick?
The full rankings, 1 to 11.
I see what you're doing there, Jeff. Jen, you're still on mute right now.
Thank you. I worked for a classic rock station in Lafayette, Indiana, and we did birthday celebrations every year. And on the 5th anniversary, we did special T-shirts. So obviously for our 5th, it's our 5th, and we had a bottle. I mean, those were quite the coveted little shirts, but that was fun.
Well, we are coming up on the show's 5th anniversary, Jen.
There you go. That's true.
Pretty sure it's the 5th. Or is it the 6th? I don't know. Pretty sure.
It's the 5th.
Longest 5 years of your life. Attaboy, Beal. Well, being a Clemson fan, you can't put a Star Wars fan on top of that and still be in the good graces of the show, I wouldn't think. Oh. Great question from Troy, Patrick, that you'll appreciate. If you think 6 of the 9 movies were bad, why did you watch all 9?
Kind of like when you taste something bad, you keep eating it because it's like, well, maybe it'll get better, or,
What?
Wow. Got a picture from Anthony. This is not Anthony from Kershaw, I'm hoping. It is. Very disappointed. he's got a picture with Chewbacca. At least it is. He went big.
Get my Roman numerals on.
Oh, whoa, you got a front and back?
I definitely screwed up the Roman numerals here. Yeah. I think it's the first time I've ever ranked the Star Wars movies.
Wow, Anthony. Yeah, I thought I had a teammate there.
Well, that's a vacation, so that's not the same.
No. If I went to Disneyland in Anaheim, I would not have a picture of Chewbacca. I just wouldn't.
He's wrapped up in the moment. I'm trying to help you, Anthony.
It's one of the more surprising things about human nature, I think. Just when you think you know someone, Anthony from Kershaw has sponsored Patrick's whiteboard, sat with us, participated in the 107.5 The Bar inaugural episode on draft night, was that solid contributor. He was there. He knew when to slip a comment in there. He was our resident 49ers fan that we really needed because that's when the draft got going at number 3. This morning, he starts with good morning, everyone, at 7:53, 11 minutes ago. And I said, you notice that Anthony, what he did not say was what Carlton started us off with this morning at about 6:08. May the 4th be with you. And so if I was a betting man, this is why I'm not a betting man. If I was a betting man at that point, 100% all in. Anthony's with me. Not a Star Wars guy. Probably just has no place for it in his life and likes to giggle at the little pew pew noises in the movies and is on team anti-Star Wars. And then I get a picture at Tim Hill 107.5. I'm going to retweet it now of one Anthony from Kershaw with a hairy arm around him. Chewbacca at Disneyland. And this is a smile. It does look a little bit like a forced smile. Anthony is wearing a Gamecock shirt and hat there. But the other people with him in this picture look very, very pleased, actually. They look like they're genuinely smiling here, whereas Anthony maybe this is what it is. He does look a little bit like he might have been kidnapped and forced to take this picture. Patrick is in on the pro May the 4th be with you crowd this morning, and just in the national break there, or in our top of the hour break, I should say, just went maybe the quickest you've ever written on your whiteboard. You have 1 through 6 behind you, and then you flipped it as well. What do you have on the front of your board? Best
7 through 11.
So you've ranked all 11 of them.
Yeah.
All 11 Star Wars movies.
Real gut feeling on all those too. It's for people that like Star Wars. My number 1 is super controversial.
Really? Okay. So maybe it looks like Trey kind of is going down that path. It says, Patrick, see in your ranking, normally you're right, but at no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumb or crap. Listen to it. I award you no points. You got have mercy on your soul. Well done, Billy Madison. Great.
Attack of the Clones is not considered among the best, but I just get such a kick out of the battle in the arena, and then the clone battle afterwards. The last 30 minutes of that movie are phenomenal. The showdown with Count Dooku at the end, it's so good. Just so good.
Okay, we've asked you guys if you're going to be a Star Wars nerd out there, to go ahead and give your record out of 11, because someone hit us up earlier and only counted 9 of them for whatever reason. A texter did and said, we would not support a 3 and 6 football team. Why? How can you support a movie franchise where 6 of the 9 movies were bad? Troy responding, if you think 6 of the 9 were bad, why did you watch all 9 of them? I think that's a great question. Like, don't you have to at some point cash out like maybe 7 movies in and say, nah, I'm not going to keep it? Maybe you're just one of these people that sees things through, even if clearly you got to tap out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to get out of a bad relationship. And I would think if you're 6 out of 9 bad, do you cash out at 10? Are you waiting for 10? Is that the magic number? Now, B from Columbia hits us up, 803-404-6100. To call or text into the program. And we will not just be talking about Star Wars all day, but it is May the 4th. That's why we're on it right now, and because we're going with records like football teams, I think maybe you can stay on board a little longer than you might otherwise if you're like me and you're not a Star Wars fan. B says, my Star Wars record's 9-2. Episode 8 in the most recent 3 was horrible. See, just that right there. I mean, why can't we just number these things 1 through 11? It's so confusing. You got the prequels.
They are 1 to 9.
Yeah, they're 9 in the trilogy. That doesn't make any sense. And what were you saying about 9, Patrick?
They are numbered 1 to 9. The other 2 are standalones. They're not in order.
What is that? Are they part of the story or not?
Not necessarily. They don't need to be.
What does that mean?
They're standalone movies. One is like an origin story of Han Solo. It's bad, but it's just an origin story of Han Solo. So it's not relevant to the plot arc of the 9 movies.
Don't you feel like you're just getting ripped off then?
No.
No, it doesn't. It's a standalone movie. No. Isn't that just to get all your money? No, you didn't feel that way watching that?
It's a movie. Movies are made to make money.
It's true. They are. But I would prefer to think that they're made to bring enjoyment and entertainment to our lives. And also, they make money. That's just me. I guess B says the Solo movie was the worst of the 11. Are you in? I
agree. I put it at 11. Yeah.
Okay. It says I liked 1, 2, and 3. Now, what is that even? I don't even know what that means.
1. Technically 4, 5, and 6, yeah.
So confusing.
Well, I mean, they didn't mean to do it that way. They came out 20 years after the original trilogy. They just realized, like, oh, well, there's actually room here that we can make a prequel. Like, right, what is so foreign a concept about a prequel?
Well, don't give me this story arc thing then. If you're making up the beginning of the story after you've written the middle of it. That's all I'm saying. Is that sports talky enough? Where I have to start banging on the table and really get mad. Let me continue B's text there. He says, even though Jar Jar was incredibly annoying in 1, 2, and 3, he liked those. I think more people would like number 1 if you take out Jar Jar. Now, is that a Star Wars nerd hot take or what, Patrick?
No, that's not a hot take. That's pretty widely agreed upon. He was an unnecessary addition to See the Star Wars world. He wasn't a very good character. And the child actor that played Anakin, I found to be quite bad.
I saw Return of the Jedi in the theater as a kid. Another anonymous texter says, it's my number 1 seed. Ewoks and Goonies. Never say die.
Yeah, it
Justin,
was my number 2 seed because of the battle on Hoth.
Justin says, Spaceballs has a perfect record. Yogurt whoops Yoda any day. Well done, Justin. You're with Jen and I on this thing.
Spaceballs is great. Agreed.
At W. I don't know. All the Sharknadoes were bad, but I think I've watched all 5 of them. Or 5 of them. And Billy Bob Joe Bob. Tim, you seem like a Lord of the Rings fan. Is the Hobbit part of the trilogy? I don't know, man. One time I saw like 5 minutes of that second. What is it? The Tall Tower or something?
2 hours, yeah.
I was laughing out loud. I could not get into it. So
Shame.
you got me on that. Yeah, you're a big Lord of the Rings guy?
Yeah, they're fantastic. I didn't like the Hobbits, but yeah, Lord of the Rings are incredible. It's only the most awarded movie in the history of film, but sure. It's really not a complex story. There's the light side, the dark side. The light side is good, the dark side is bad. It's actually about as simple as it gets.
Okay. But then when you get prequels, trilogies that are more than 3, that's where
It is a very simple timeline.
the timeline that includes how much
The characters are the same characters, some of them, and it's just like, oh, he's old in this one, so I guess this one happened after. Like, you can patch it together pretty easily.
If you're asking me to patch it together, then it's a little too complicated. It's too much work than I want to do at movies. What's the appropriate response? The poll, the Set of Automotive poll question at Tim Hill 105 to May the 4th be with you. I'm very disappointed that and also with you is leading the way with 46.5% of the vote. Maybe I should add up the rest of them as the kind of anti-positive response because it looks like I actually kind of skewed this thing, and there are 3 that are not really positive responses to this. Ignore it completely is in a strong second place right now. Just no with an exclamation point is a distant 4th. This is the rudest response. Then you can go sarcastic with live long and prosper or confusing maybe. That's in 3rd place right now. Again, at Tim Hill 1075 if you'd like to vote. Set of Automotive poll question up and rolling. We're not all Star Wars today. Certainly talking a little sports, a lot of sports. Mentioned about the Georgia flip yesterday. The Gamecock football new commit is an edge rusher who was a part of the number 1 ranked Georgia recruiting class until yesterday. Donovan Westmoreland from Georgia, the state of Georgia. 6'3", 215 is what he's listed at now. So, Patrick, you would say plenty of room to grow there, right, with those numbers as a linebacker slash rusher. He's a speed guy, though, and is looking forward to joining the South Carolina class and loved the virtual visit and especially the recording studio, which is an interesting comment at this point. Kind of the polar opposite of what we heard from Braden Davis, the Delaware quarterback commit from Friday. Said he came down to the school and wasn't able to do the official visit, obviously, with still the dead period here from NCAA recruiting until June 1. But like the facilities, like the town, felt at home kind of thing. And we were talking about how that seems to be a strong commit. I would say that anyone that stands out with the favorite part of the recruiting visit was the recording studio is on the opposite end of that spectrum. That sound fair to you, Patrick?
Yeah, I don't know what people think about that. Does it make you happy that they spared no expense and put all the things that clearly kids are interested in? Or is it like, hey, if that's the reason the kid's coming here, it's probably not the best. Probably not the best of reasons. But yeah, that's not the reason. It's just a perk, I guess.
Anonymous texter. Tim, you always criticize the sound of the laser guns firing as fake. Could you tell us what they actually sound like then? No, they actually sound like pew, pew, pew. It just sounds ridiculous to me. That's all. No need to take it personally, but that's what the Star Wars debate turns into. So many times I feel like we're also helping some people, I think, get out some baggage with this thing, like our texter in the last hour who said his friends made him watch it, and then his stepdad did, and he's no longer the stepdad, and clearly those guys are no longer the friends. So that's something moving forward there. More SEC football news. A couple of transfers into the conference yesterday. Some big name transfers, big time transfers. A big time linebacker, leading what would have been the leading returning tackler, I think, to the University of Texas, is going over to Tennessee to try to help them recover from all the transfers in the departure of Jeremy Pruitt, and in comes Josh Heupel. So their top tackler, coming into Tennessee and trying to help shore things up. Jawan Mitchell is his name. And that led us to the conversation. What about Henry To'oTo'o, the guy who had the pick six against the Gamecocks, who was the big play of the game last year? And who knows kind of the trajectory of the programs if that had not have happened. I think when you see Jeremy Pruitt not able to hang on at Tennessee, had the McDonald's bag story and the whole thing, don't think it would have mattered very much on his trajectory, but maybe it would have helped give the Gamecocks some positive momentum and helped Will Muschamp's case to stay at South Carolina. All that is now water under the bridge, obviously, but it led us to say, where's Henry To'oTo'o? Where's he going? I had to look that up. We don't know. We're sitting here I had to look it up. This is how dumb I've been talking about May the 4th all day because what's today's date? It's May 4th. This is one of the best players available in college football. He didn't have a program. He's originally from California. The story is that he's been back in California. He announced in January that he was going to transfer, taking online classes. Wants to transfer to Alabama, but has to make sure that he'll be able to play immediately. The one-time transfer rule doesn't necessarily mean you can transfer within the conference and play immediately. And that's apparently the holdup here. But recently took a trip to Ohio State, and this is college football free agency at its finest, isn't it, Patrick? I mean, Henry To'oTo'o, big-time linebacker. They switch coaches. He doesn't want to stay, and now he's just kind of wandering out there and looking for the best situation available. Southern Cal, another spot that is obviously kind of linked to him being a California native. Are you pro the new era of college football free agency, or do you think it's going to take away from the game?
As of now, I think this is taking away what we're seeing right now. It's just, I don't think it's good for the sport at all. You're not developing relationships with these players at all, and all the effort that goes into recruiting them is just out the door right away. Like, you're always only a year away from losing all your talent, or I guess turning it all around. But just what we're seeing is just losing a position battle. A guy comes in at your position and you say, okay, I'm out of here. I just don't like it at all. I think there is a decent chance that it'll even out eventually when all these kids realize how many of them aren't going to have a roster spot next year, how many of them go from a situation that was actually pretty good and then go to a bigger school or a different program or a different scheme or whatever it may be, and it doesn't work out. Maybe it'll be somebody like To'oTo'o. Maybe it'll be somebody like the Texas linebacker that's headed to Tennessee. Maybe it'll be the wide receiver that's going to Alabama from Ohio State. Like, whatever it may be, a couple bad experiences will hopefully influence people to not make a rash decision. If you have a legitimate reason to transfer, okay, but not just because somebody came in or transferred in that plays your position. I just don't like it.
Well, this goes back to the conversation we were having last hour about Aaron Rodgers and the rift with the Green Bay Packers, and how the latest story is that one of the big reasons that Aaron Rodgers is not happy with the Packers is they cut one of his guys the day after he was publicly praising him and basically didn't consult him at all. And to not even take into consideration, I think, is the big issue here. Talking about Jake Kumara, guy who caught a couple of touchdowns, 20 catches going into that 2020 season. They cut him. And I guess that's where, kind of backtracking this thing, where a big rift started to happen. And It led to what Mike Tirico at the Kentucky Derby said he bumped into Aaron Rodgers, and just how he didn't want to come on camera and talk about it. But there is a chasm, I think is how he put it, a large divide between quarterback and organization. But I mentioned that because Aaron Rodgers has built up that cachet. The Green Bay Packers should take his opinion into serious consideration for everything that he has been to them. And
they've fallen short year after year, despite him playing at an outrageous level, not because of anything he did. Last year it was a coaching decision. They didn't even let the MVP put the ball. They didn't even let the game rest in his hands. They kicked a field goal and just let Tom Brady win the game and never let Aaron Rodgers touch the ball again. Like he's got to be fuming from that all offseason as well. It's like they don't even trust him.
So that's an example to me of a guy who has earned a bunch of, I don't even know the best way to put that, earned a bunch of power in an organization, earned a bunch of the benefit of the doubt. I think Henry To'oTo'o from college football production has as well. So he is one of the rare guys who has played several years at a very high level and will be able to kind of pick and choose his spot in his situation. He's got great options out there. But most of these recruits, I think, is where you're at, Patrick. Most of these transfers are transferring out because the situation didn't work out for them at their current spot, not because there was a coaching switch and they just want to see what else is out there. And for them, they're not going to have the experience they probably did out of high school, where you had big-time programs after you and a good situation in front of you. Because when you're bringing in a transfer, a guy who's been there several years, you're doing it to fit a specific need, I think, and you have to make sure that he is going to be a guy that fits your team, as opposed to try to bring someone in and develop them and give them more of the benefit of the doubt coming out of high school.
Yeah, well, and this situation is different for someone like To'oTo'o, who's basically just now being wined and dined by all the schools that wined and dined him as a high schooler because he was so highly recruited. That's a little different than the guys like a George Strachan who's coming up from Georgia State to play at the highest level and hopefully put his name on the map even more than it already might have been. Like you respect that a little bit more because he's just ready for the jump up in competition. Like Jabril Cox could have just gone pro at North Dakota State, but he said, no, I want to challenge myself at the highest level of college football, the second best football league in the world. So, I mean, you respect that. It's also still not good for college football because the more that happens, the more it's going to just hurt the smaller programs. But we kind of knew that was inevitable with this. So, yeah, it is a different situation. I don't know that it changes my opinion in any way, but I mean, how many visits does To'oTo'o need to make? He's seen every school in the country at this point and been wined and dined by every coach in America multiple times now. So
I got no problem with it. I feel like we're having the same discussion that was had maybe 30 years ago, 40 years ago when free agency hit pro sport. It's more difficult as a fan for sure to keep up with guys, and maybe the idea of loyalty is challenged for sure. But hey, man, in reality, we're all free agents to some degree in the professional world. It's just the latest example of that in sports. Wanted to remind you that we're not going to try to give you, we will give you a chance. We're doing it 10 times per day, every weekday, Monday through Friday here on 107.5 The Game, 25K. Top of every hour, give you a secret keyword, ask you to text in to 95819 to qualify to win $100 every winner. Entered into the drawing for the grand prize jackpot of $25,000. It's a 25K workday payday. We're going to try to wake Patrick up here in the last half hour of the show. He's got his Star Wars movies ranked 1 through 11 on May the 4th. 834-6100 is the number into the program. Give you some details about tonight's baseball game. The Gamecocks hosting the North Florida Ospreys. It's the early game here on 107.5 The Game. Hey, wanted to give you the heads up. Yesterday, again, following around that 1-year-old all around the house. He's dominating, continues to dominate us. I asked my wife last night, how long do we think this stage is going to last? She did not give me the answer I was looking for. 2 years, she said. She's probably right. So I need to get used to the idea that we just have someone that is wreaking havoc, including pretty consistently getting some kind of spill on our floors. Fortunately, we've had some professional help out at my house, and I recommend you get Zero Res carpet and air duct cleaning out to yours as well. Zero Res did a great job at my house on carpets, cleaned an area rug for me, also freshened up the tiles in both the kitchen and the bathroom. Not just great, I expected from a professional carpet cleaning company, but complete peace of mind at my house with the little guy running around on the carpets all the time, rolling around on the carpets all the time. No harsh chemicals involved in their cleaning process. It's a patented powered water system. They crank up the pH in the water. You can find out all the details at zerorescolumbia.com. You can also see they have a great deal for you. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned, only $119, plus a free hallway when you mention me, Tim Hill. ZeroResColumbia.com, where you can book that appointment today. Give them a call at 803-262-4020. It's Zero Res. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean. You have smacked the wall, sir.
No, I just stretched out while you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, but during the last segment.
Yeah. I don't know how. I don't. Am I still going? No. I don't know how Game of Thrones will compare to Star Wars. Just a subscription-based network.
Right.
But I do think Game of Thrones is the last of its kind. Like, I don't think anything will keep the whole world in suspense like Game of Thrones did in that last season.
Why not?
Because the new model of series, like Netflix puts out everything a series at a time, and it's not the waiting a week discussing everything that happened in the past week type of deal. And now there's way more like there's Showtime, HBO, Paramount Plus, Netflix, Hulu. Like, it's way more spread out, and it's less likely that people will all be watching the same thing again. Like, I don't think another show will ever hit the ratings that Game of Thrones did. Maybe that first episode of season 8.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you with you on that one, but I think there will be kind of a correction. I think some of those series will go back to the old way if they're good enough.
What, the week at a time, you mean?
Yeah.
Disney Plus does it that way. Disney Plus has had probably 4 really big shows now. 2 seasons of Mandalorian, and then the 2 Marvel series that they just did were all really big, and they came out a week at a time. But I don't know if Netflix will ever change. I think Netflix just wants people binging,
Right.
and just get it all over with and on to the next one.
Well, they just want people on the site, right?
Yeah. I am pumped for this Game of Thrones prequel, though. It's gonna be sweet. They just started production like a week or 2 ago.
Whoa.
Oh, how bad is the weather tonight? I didn't even think of that.
Not sure. Let Jen weigh in on that.
Yeah. It's gonna be raining, brother.
probably took that. Oh, that's good.
I'm currently fact checking this thing that I heard, but I heard that Urban Meyer in his first draft of the Jaguars only drafted 4-star college recruits or better. And they're all Power 5 except for one kid who went to UAB, but he transferred there from Florida.
Whoa.
So Urban Meyer just needs to make sure that he gets he's just operating NFL team like it is a college program. So it appears.
Going off the 2016 recruiting rankings?
Yeah. And he actually broke the tampering laws that don't actually mean anything, but just blatantly talking about how he wanted Kadarius Toney in his press conference instead of talking about Travis Etienne is just, we should probably tell him that you don't do that in the NFL. It's kind of bizarre. And Travis.
There it is. That's how you can get tickets to see Genesis coming to Charlotte, the Spectrum Center, up in November. Just hit us up on social media. At 1075 The Game is the station Twitter handle. Use the hashtag 1075Genesis and put a quick video there, the air drums. By the way, Bubba tried to correct you earlier, Patrick, on the text line. You said that a lot of people in your generation, being 25 years old, know that song from the movie The Hangover as Mike Tyson punching Stu in the face. And I think Bubba said he actually punched a different guy.
He punched Allen. Yeah, Bubba was right. Now that I'm thinking about it, it was they had to feed the tiger sleeping pills, and because Allen took the punch from Mike Tyson, Stu was the one that had to throw the steak in the bathroom to knock the tiger out.
Thank you for your
Good job, Bubba.
Good job. So we're going to have 5 hairs giveaway. We're going to do it on Friday to those 5 best videos of the air drums in the air tonight with Bill Collins. Tickets to Genesis, November in Charlotte. They go on sale this Friday. You can win them this Friday just by doing a silly little video. But make it as creative as you would like, and we'll make sure to try to do our best to get you some tickets.
People are gonna try and have their kids do the video. Is that cheating? Is that fair game?
It's a fair game, man.
I want to see the adults that like Genesis and want to see the Genesis concert embarrass themselves doing it. I would give bonus points for that. I would consider the kid video as a cop-out.
All right. It's out there. That's how Patrick will be voting here. He gets a vote. He gets a say. It will not be the loudest say, maybe. For those of us
that would be the loudest. It just might not be.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Tonight, Jen, how's the weather? What are you putting the chances of the Gamecocks getting in that baseball game against North Florida at Founders Park? Gotcha. It was a mess yesterday, wasn't it? No doubt. Saw
Trooper.
Whoa. No, that's not. Come on, guys. There is. Okay. There's bravery and there is stupidity. There's a lie. Mm-hmm. What did he do? Nice work. That's Jen Jensen saving the world one tractor implement at a time. Jack Mahoney set to start tonight if there is a game. 3-0 on the season. Righty. Impressive numbers. 1.1 ERA, 39 strikeouts, 7 walks. I think you don't see him tonight, obviously, if the Gamecocks don't. You will see him on the weekend. I think Mahoney's role moving forward with this team, that the pitching has been pretty good. It's been the bats that I think that have been disappointing here in the last 6-game stretch in the SEC, where the Gamecocks have lost the last 5. It's been against good pitching, but we've seen this team bounce back against some good pitching, notably in that Vanderbilt series. I know they got no hit against Jack Leiter, but they did touch up Kumar Rocker for a few runs and were in that game in game number 1, and then they came back from down 4-0 on Sunday. Obviously, sweeping Florida, you know they can compete against top-line pitching. But Ole Miss was good, and they looked really, really good. How much credit you give Ole Miss over the weekend or how much blame you put on the Carolina Bats is kind of up to you. Arkansas is number 1 team in the country for a reason, and they're really good on the mound as well. Will be very interesting to see how it finishes up, because Mississippi State is right there with those other programs. Tennessee right there with those other programs, amongst the best in the country. The Gamecocks have to figure out a way to start winning some more games if they plan on hosting a regional. And a strong finish here in the last 3 SEC series will go a long way towards that. Obviously, you can't slip up in a midweek game against a North Florida team that planned on starting a pitcher today with a 9.42 ERA, who has more walks than strikeouts on the season. So not a good chance that game's going to happen at this point from the weather standpoint, but no official word out of USC at last check. We'll keep you updated here on 107.5, as always, throughout the day.
Would you consider moving Thomas Farr to Saturday just to get him either a more favorable matchup or whatever reason the run support just hasn't been there on Fridays? And I don't know if Mississippi State has one lethal ace that would always go on Friday night, but is that something like just for the sake of building some confidence for him because he has pitched well, or is it just you throw your best guy on Friday, you don't think about it, and that's just the way it is?
I think you consider it, you keep an open mind to anything. If you're a baseball coach, you understand it's a long season, and it's kind of like the courage or the bravery and stupidity line, right? There is, you believe in something and want to instill confidence in your guys, and then you do it to your team's detriment, right? It's that whole stubborn streak. Stubborn makes you a really dumb person sometimes, right? But stubborn or believing in your team also is a good thing to a certain point. I don't see the starting rotation as the reason for Carolina's struggles. Thomas Farr in Friday night, that Friday night record's not good for the Gamecocks. That's what it is.
But they were 2 hit on Friday? Is that all they had? I think a home run to hit.
The blame doesn't go to Thomas Farr on that thing. His job is to give his team a chance to win. He typically has done that. I was surprised he didn't have one of the Ole Miss after having his career-long outing the week before against number 1 Arkansas. I thought he would continue to build on that and get it going and keep it going in a positive direction. So you certainly keep an eye on that. If that becomes the trend now against Mississippi State, maybe you switch it up for the Kentucky series. But I would be surprised if they switch it up this weekend, just simply because you don't have necessarily a guy that would be the obvious replacement. Jordan's been pretty good on Saturday, but I don't think he's your guy that you say, oh, he has to be our starter in game number 1. And unfortunately, Will Sanders took a step back in his last outing at Ole Miss as well. It didn't throw that well for a guy that's been outstanding all season long. I just don't think it's something you have to do. Could it happen? Definitely could. And Mark Kingston seems to be a guy that has no problem making some moves. Like you saw Colin Burgess pop up to the number 3 spot in the lineup. Wes Clark down to number 7. Clark hits his 16th home run, the first home run in a while in that game number 3. on Saturday at Ole Miss. So clearly those things work. I think Kingston does a good job in not overreacting, but reacting properly in the context of the full college baseball season, which is a tough one too, because it's different than what you see in the majors, right? When you have a 162 game season, it's a lot easier to show confidence in your guys and not make a move and let it play out in the zoomed out 162 games. You got just 56 games. You got 30 conference games. You're coming down the stretch now. You got 9 left. You probably feel like you have to make more of a move than you would if you had more time to play with. With all that being said, Patrick, I don't think they're moving Thomas far out of that game 1 spot.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the structure of every week is also very important. Like, he just is on that, has the hang of pitching on either Thursday or Friday night every week. But yeah, I just didn't know if it's like does it change anything about his psyche just getting a win because it's been so long since he's had one, and does he need that boost? But if he's pitching well, I guess it's not really a huge issue. So I guess that makes sense.
Completely off of that subject, which is how this show has gone on May the 4th, not on the Star Wars subject. Travis says, Tim, I could have used the hot take hotline last night. Patrick, it's always there for you. Just give it a call. It was there for you last night. You should have used it, maybe is what he meant to say. The hot take hotline is always there for you. 978-6654. Put it in your phone. You could have talked it out. Then we could have played it back this morning and helped you out. He says, I didn't want to vent to my wife since it involves her friends. Yeah, that's a wise move. Her friend's getting married for the 3rd time. So I was told yesterday we have to drive to Raleigh Friday for this mess. She couldn't keep the first 2. Now number 3, I'd rather cut grass on Saturday. I don't blame you, Travis. My question would be, is this the 3rd big wedding then? Has she tried to pull that one 3 times? Clearly it's big enough if you're invited and you're going to this thing. Patrick, what about you? You haven't even gotten to your prime wedding season at all yet, have you? At age 25?
I've never been to a wedding of a friend.
Right. So you got a few more years on that.
Yeah. I've been to, like, I have a ton of cousins, like 20 something cousins, so I've been to some of their weddings. But yeah, none of my friends are married yet. So
I know people out there that I think have the policy that they will attend 1 wedding per person. And then after that, they cut it off.
That's fair.
Jen, have you been to multiple weddings of the same person?
I've been to a second wedding, and it was just like a smaller at the house kind of deal. Yeah.
Right, but did you go to the first one?
No, I wasn't born yet.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Travis, I think you might want to have the conversation with your wife about at what point do you become an enabler by attending these weddings? Just saying, responsibility.
Yeah. I mean, be behaved, or else you could sabotage it and you'll be stuck going to number 4 soon too. So
yeah, I wouldn't look at it that way. Right. Travis is looking at it like he's missing out on cutting his grass on Saturday. I'd say that's responsible of you. 803-404-6100 if you would like to weigh in with a final comment. So that Texas leading tackler to Tennessee, not the only big-time transfer into SEC football. Give you the latest details on that. And Dawn Staley's birthday on May the 4th. How about that? And she's starting it with a workout. Impressive. I think she's all about that Peloton bike, huh?
taking over.
Good for her. It sure is. You're listening to the early game. It's 107.5 The Game. Kurt. That sounds like a line that he stole. It says it's his policy not to attend weddings or funerals, both very sad. Robert, my mom was married 3 times. I was in the last 2. Can't really make the policy if it's your own mom.
got to be there. I know people that because COVID ended up getting married like quarter in church and an actual ceremony this summer. Like sort of a double wedding. The first one was more formal and the second one was more.
So help me out with that again. Your audio went in and out on me.
Yeah, I was echoing. I'm still echoing. We were supposed to have a big wedding, and they didn't want to wait, so they got married, like I guess at church with family around, but they're still having the wedding that they originally wanted, just minus the ceremony part, I guess. So that's a big party reception. Yeah, pretty much.
Got no problem with that. Craig, just it depends. Are you, whether you're a Twitter or Facebook guy, just send it into the station. Station handle on Twitter is @1075 the game. And just put it on the Facebook page as well. We'll put out a post here in a little bit, and you could respond to that. Right, Travis? So I'm getting that as the third big wedding.
Sounds like it.
But then I would think at that point you can get away with it, because if it's your wife's friend, then let her go. And I don't think you're responsible. I don't think the significant other has to attend the third wedding. Come on, man.
I wouldn't expect my husband to. Not saying that makes
See,
me
there you
better
go.
or worse, but
Jen has given you the pass. Just tell your Jen says she wouldn't expect her husband to go. And if you were a good wife, you wouldn't either. That'll go well. Just do that one.
okay, I'm not sure I'd go quite that far in that explanation. Okay, lose my number. You know what? And honestly, I think I would kind of look at it as I try to find a couple other women that I know to go and like kind of make it a fun ladies' day type thing. You know, don't worry about bringing the guys with. But that's just me.
Road trip. Thelma and Louise to Raleigh.
You could look at it as you get to go to a third wedding and not you have to go to a third wedding.
There you go.
Weddings are fun. You're not getting a gift.
This is from a guy who hasn't been to a friend's wedding ever.
Yeah, my friends, I've been to family weddings, and I could have more fun at a friend's wedding than a family wedding, but I've still enjoyed all the family weddings.
I would say when it's... Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that you clearly haven't been to unfun weddings, and there are those.
No, I haven't, yeah.
But I would agree with the gift thing that, you know, at this point, if you've been married 3 times, you probably have set up house, so...
Yeah.
You probably... I don't think you need anything, so... I think I would have it set up where if you really feel compelled, you know, could you just maybe make a donation to something or, you know.
A lawyer recommendation?
Yeah, really.
$25 Amazon gift card. That's...
Yeah, DC, we heard that one on the text line as well.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite images that I saw on an advertising site, it's basically 2 elevator doors, and it's a bride and a groom. But then obviously when the elevator doors open, they separate, and it's a thing for a divorce lawyer, you know. And that's like, okay, that's pretty clever, actually.
Wow.
A little sick, but funny.
Speaking of which, you see what took our Twitter last night was Bill and Melinda.
Oh, I know.
Calling it quits. There were a million memes or photoshops that just went viral on Twitter yesterday of fake DMs to Bill Gates from girls. Young hot girls being like, I normally don't do this, but sliding into Bill Gates DM. And
the things that I saw were the more obscene things about what could have gone wrong in the marriage. And
No. Yeah.
Things that have to do with computer parts and yeah. So.
A lot of different ways you can go with that.
Oh yeah.
It's okay. I bet Bill Gates is still celebrating today. He's got to be a Star Wars guy. That would be the upset of the century if Bill Gates was not a Star Wars fan.
Good call. Also, if he didn't have a prenup,
yeah. So, ladies, make sure you have some things in your name only.
Aren't they just giving away all their money anyway? Do they really care?
Yeah.
I think when you got billions, you got a lot to give away.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's their plan, is to give away billions.
I'd love to be in that position.
They have like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation that I think all of their money is going to go to when they die, and then the foundation will dissolve after like 10 or 15 years after their death, I think.
That's cool.
Because they don't want to have it going when they're not there to figure out where the money should go.
Makes sense. Okay, sir.
Jason on the Facebook live stream asks, will the lovable Ewok Bill be back tomorrow? And he will. And if you ever wanted to grill Bill, now's your chance. Just go to 1075thegame.com. Fill out the form, a couple of questions, get creative. You'll be joining us on Monday when we do Grill Bill, sponsored by the South Carolina Pork Board, its member farmers, IGA Food Stores, and Camp Chef. If you join us, you're chosen to join us on Monday, you get an IGA gift card like Matt B got yesterday when Grill Bill morphed into Grill Patrick. Great job by Matt B, taking a lot of notes from his non-existent journalism classes in college. And when you qualify to join us, then you are qualified to win the grand prize of the Camp Chef pellet grill worth more than $1,000. It's Grill Bill, 1075thegame.com. Again, the place to go to sign up. Also,
do you think Bill's mood tomorrow at 6 a.m. will be energetic and ready to get back to work, or will he be complaining that he has to come back to work after a 5-day birthday bender?
Well, Bill is a bit of an enigma. I think he'll probably be pulling off both of those things at the same time.
It'll either be this move, rubbing his hands together like
Right.
that at 6:03 or 6:05, or
I think that's the case, and by about 7:30, it'll be, he'll crash.
it'll be if we don't see him log on to the live stream before 6:04, then we'll know it's not going well.
There.
Good point.
Especially knowing that he's going to be filling in for Heath the rest of the week. So
Right.
Ooh,
he's
yeah.
only having to get up that one morning. Yeah.
Couple of minutes from now, going to give you another chance to win $100 and then qualify to win $25,000. By the way, our 25K workday payday, the secret keyword coming up here in just a few minutes at the top of every hour from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday through May 12th here on 1075 The Game. You just text that hourly keyword into 95819. It's been an interesting show, Patrick. What is your hot take of the show? Was your number one ranked Star Wars movie here on May the 4th? Is that correct?
Yeah, Attack of the Clones is my number one Star Wars movie. My hot take is that Star Wars haters, people that say things like some of the texts we got this morning, worse than the Star Wars nerds.
Ooh, interesting. It's Jameson Williams, a Ohio State wide receiver, I should say, transferring to Alabama. That's just what Alabama needs, right? A lot of more talented.
He'll probably be drafted in the first round next year.
A lot more talented wide receivers. Unbelievable. Would be eligible to play immediately because of the one-time transfer thing, not having to sit out. Was a former 4-star prospect and played in every game. Buckeyes in the last 2 seasons. 9 passes, 154 yards, 2 touchdowns in just 8 games, or in 8 games last season. So not huge numbers. Will be interesting to keep an eye on, though. It's been an interesting show. Thanks for listening to the early game. All right, guys, that'll do it this morning. Thanks for all the participation on the live stream there. What are you shaking your head at, Patrick?
No, that was just a breeze. Star Wars really got a lot of hot takes from either direction out of everybody.
Always seems to.
Yes,
Always
it
does.
does.
Without fail.
And Jen, Hope's asking about the NASCAR picks. How did they end up this past weekend?
Carrie came in first. Then it was Reggie, me, and Bill. So
Very
at
nice.
least Bill was in last. That's really all I ever care about.
All right, Mark.
It was a good
I look
race.
forward to it. DC, nice work. RL, have a good morning, sir. See you guys in the morning
Full crew tomorrow. All right.
with Bill. That should be something.